Chapter 979. Betting in Truth. It was no wonder that the martial artists of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion didn't think highly of the eight-legged centipede. This was because the eight-legged centipede was completely rooted to the spot and did not put up any resistance. Bao Chong has already disappeared into the void, yet you still haven't reacted. Aren't you courting death? You seem to be very pessimistic about the eight-legged centipede. Hearing the discussions of the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion martial artists, Ningyu maintained his composure and said, "How about we make a bet?" Ha ha ha. A third-grade human sovereign from the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion laughed wildly. The eight-legged centipede is about to be killed, and you're still in the mood to bet here? Of all the martial artists in the hall, the only one I admire is you. Since you want to bet, I'll bet with you. As long as the eight-legged centipede can defeat Bao Chong, I'll give you 100 pieces of sovereign-grade essence crystals. You have the nerve to speak of 100 royal-grade origin crystals? Aren't you ashamed? Ningyu curled his lips and said, "You." After being ridiculed by Ningyu in front of so many people, the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade supreme being gnashed his teeth in anger. "Cut the crap. I'll take out 2,000 royal-grade origin crystals." Ningyu flicked his wrist and withdrew the storage pouch he'd won earlier, then said, "I'll give all of you 3 seconds to gather. If you're able to gather 2,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, then we'll bet. If you're unable to gather it, then don't talk big." Bang! Right at this moment, a clear and melodious voice resounded within the core hall. Bao Chong seized the opportunity and punched the eight-legged centipede's chest. The tremendous force sent the eight-legged centipede flying several meters away. It only stopped when its body collided with the high platform. Poochie! The eight-legged centipede's peak fourth-grade human sovereign aura instantly dropped to the third-grade human sovereign level. Voila! When the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion martial artists saw the eight-legged centipede being forced back, they were stunned. However, after a brief daze, they reacted. "I have 50 royal-grade origin crystals. Here, these are my 120 royal-grade origin crystals. Count me in as well. 30 royal-grade origin crystals." The martial artists of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion were not fools. They all began to bet. The eight-legged centipede had already been beaten back by Bao Chong, so its defeat was only a matter of time. Even the cultivators of the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Ean sect wanted to join in and bet. After all, he had won for nothing. Ningyu, we've gathered a total of 2,085 royal-grade origin crystals. After a while, the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade human sovereign slowly walked in front of Ningyu and said, "If you can take out that many royal-grade origin crystals, our bet will take effect immediately." "I have no objections." Ningyu flicked his wrist and fished out another 100 pieces of royal-grade essence crystals. Then, Ningyu threw the storage pouch to the side and said, "Let's throw all the crystals here. If the eight-legged centipede wins, they will all be mine. If not, they will all belong to you." Okay. The Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade human sovereign threw the storage pouch and said sinisterly, "It seems that going to the Beast King Palace was a very wise choice. I can actually win more than 2,000 royal-grade origin crystals." Eight-legged centipede. If Bao Chong disappears again, I'll tell you his specific location. Ningyu did not want to get entangled with the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade human sovereign, so he directly transmitted his voice to the eight-legged centipede. "Can you really find his specific location?" The eight-legged centipede hesitated and did not dare to believe it. Just now, the eight-legged centipede had already seen how terrifying Bao Chong was. Bao Chong was hiding in the void. Even if the eight-legged centipede used all its skills, there was no way to find Bao Chang's specific location. Ningyu was only a half-step supreme. Although he was strong, it should be difficult for him to find Bao Chang's location, right? If you don't want to die, then do as I say. Ningyu did not want to get entangled with the eight-legged centipede for too long. Bao Chong was already about to launch his second round of attacks. And you're still suspecting each other? Aren't you just digging your own grave? Swish! Just as Ningyu's voice fell, Bao Chang's figure flashed, and he charged at the eight-legged centipede at an astonishing speed. Bao Chong was very dissatisfied that he did not manage to kill the eight-legged centipede with his first move. Now for the second move, Bao Chong used all the strength in his body. He poured all his yuan qi into his wrist and punched at the eight-legged centipede. Chi. Just as he was about to reach the eight-legged centipede, Bao Chang's figure gradually turned illusory. In the end, he completely disappeared. Seeing Bao Chong disappear, the eight-legged centipede's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of fear. It had not been able to defend against Bao Chong the first time. One could well imagine that even if it didn't die this time, it would still end up crippled. East 5 steps. Just then, Ningyu's voice rang in the eight-legged centipede's ears. Hearing the voice that sounded like it was saving its life, the eight-legged centipede gritted its teeth. It could only make a desperate attempt. Swoosh! The eight-legged centipede instantly launched an earth-shattering attack. The target of the eight-legged centipede's attack was exactly 5 steps to the east. What? Not long after the eight-legged centipede launched this extremely terrifying attack, an exclamation came from the void. Bao Chong. Without a doubt, the exclamation came from Bao Chong. Bao Chong had never expected that the concealment technique he was so proud of would be discovered by the eight-legged centipede. One must know that the eight-legged centipede was only a 4th-grade human supreme. Since when could a 4th-grade human supreme realm demonic BC through his art of concealment? This was too illogical. If Bao Chong knew that it was not the eight-legged centipede that had discovered him, but Ningyu, who knew what he would think, he would probably be so angry that he would spit blood. You dare to be distracted now? Take another move. The eight-legged centipede launched another attack when it saw Bao Chong materialize out of thin air. At such a close distance, even if Bao Chong wanted to block, it would be too late. Chi. The two attacks landed on Bao Chang's body one after the other. Bao Chong spat out 2 streams of dark red blood. His face was drained of blood, and his aura instantly dropped from a peak 4th-grade human supreme to a 1st-grade human supreme. Moreover, Bao Chang's aura continued to drop. At this rate of decline, his cultivation would fall to the blessed realm in 10 seconds at most. Boom! Bao Chang's defeat was clearly beyond the expectations of most people in the core hall. He had already been beaten to the point where he could not resist the first move, so there was no reason for him to counterattack with the second move. This was extremely illogical in a battle. Die! The eight-legged centipede was not an indecisive demonic beast. After succeeding in one move, it immediately launched a second attack. The eight-legged centipede's thoughts were very simple, and that was to kill Bao Chong. Killing Bao Chong would not only give the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion a show of strength, but it would also win more than 2,000 royal-grade origin crystals for Ningyu. The eight-legged centipede had another thought. It was a 4th-grade human supreme demonic beast. If it could obtain a large number of royal-grade origin crystals, it might even advance to the 5th-grade human supreme. Chapter 980. Kill, eight-legged centipede. How dare you kill Bao Chong? I will grind your bones to dust. Although he was judoing the venerable and Earthshaker fighting, he was still paying attention to the battle between Bao Chong and the eight-legged centipede. When Bao Chong had the upper hand at the start, he felt a little relieved. But in the blink of an eye, Bao Chong was actually defeated. Moreover, not only was Bao Chong defeated, but he was also about to be killed. Bao Chang's status in the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion was much higher than He-Wen's. If He-Wen was killed, he could choose to leave the Beast King Palace to take revenge. But if Bao Chong was killed, he would definitely go crazy. Bao Chong was not only one of the top 10 powerhouses in the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion, but he also had another identity. The 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's great elder's last disciple. In the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion, there were 4 people that Jioding the Venerable was very wary of. The first one was the Great Elder. This was because the Great Elder's cultivation was very high, a level higher than his. You dare to be distracted while fighting me? You're courting death. How could Earthshaker let Jioding the Venerable have free time? He roared and immediately attacked Jioding the Venerable without any regard for his life. Chi-Chi. Earthshaker's attack this time was very powerful. Even the space around him made a hissing sound. Not good. Get into formation. Seeing Earthshaker's attack, Venerable Mingyang and Shuntian's expressions changed. The full power of a grade 6 supreme martial artist was very destructive. The first attack from Jioding the Venerable and Earthshaker had already killed 3 warriors. This time, Venerable Mingyang and the others naturally had to prepare for their attack. Swish! Seeing that Jioding the Venerable and Earthshaker were about to collide, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he instantly rushed out. Ha! Ningyu brushed past the storage bags and grabbed both of them. The current situation is very clear. Bao Chong is no match for the 8-legged centipede. It is only a matter of time before he is killed. After Ningyu obtained the storage bag, he waved it at the people from the 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion and said, "I'll take these Imperial-grade origin crystals first." The martial artists on the side of the 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion all paled. They wanted to attack, but they were afraid of the 8-legged centipede. Jioding the Venerable was being held back by the Earthshaker. He would not be able to free himself for a while. Moreover, Bao Chong had suffered heavy injuries and was on the verge of death. The people from the 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion suddenly lost their backbone. They could only stand where they were, not daring to attack. Pucci. Without Jioding the Venerable as a hidden threat, the 8-legged centipede flew directly and arrived before Bao Chong in an instant. The 8-legged centipede did not hold back in the slightest as it struck Bao Chang's chest with all its might. The huge force that came from his chest caused Bao Chang's body to fly back several meters. "You!" Bao Chong spat out a mouthful of blood and pointed a finger at the 8-legged centipede. He wanted to say something, but before he could finish, he fell to the ground with a thud. At this moment, a peak 4th-grade human supreme, Bao Chong, had died on the spot. Shua! After Bao Chong died, the entire core hall fell silent. Even the 9-Cauldron Venerable One stopped in midair and stared blankly at Bao Chong, who was lying flat on the ground. Bao Chong was the Great Elder's last disciple. Bao Chong had been killed. How was he going to explain this to the Great Elder? Kaka! Jioding the Venerable clenched his fists, his face instantly darkening to the extreme. Jioding the Venerable was furious. The martial artists from a 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion felt a deep sense of powerlessness rise from the depths of their hearts. It's over. The 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion might be completely annihilated. There were a total of 3 powerhouses from the 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion that went to the Beast King's Hall. A 6th-grade Human Supreme, Jioding the Venerable. A peak 4th-grade Human Supreme, Bao Chong. A peak 4th-grade Human Supreme, he won. 2 of the 3 powerhouses had been killed, and Jioding the Venerable was being held up by the Earthshaker. If the 8-legged centipede attacked them, what would they do? Ha! Since everyone has obtained the treasures and elixirs that they wanted, the battle can come to an end for now. At this moment, Venerable Mingyang's laughter broke the silence. Venerable Mingyang flew to the side of Jioding the Venerable and Earthshaker. He smiled and said, "The magic treasure cave has shot out 3 Emperor-grade flying swords and 2 9th-grade elixirs. In my opinion, in less than an hour, the 4 great Vajras under the Beast King will appear in the core hall." Hiss! When the martial artists in the hall heard Venerable Mingyang's words, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. The 4 great Vajras under the Earthshaker. The 4th Vajra, Vajra Goat, was a peak 5th-grade Human Supreme. The 3rd Vajra, Vajra Bao, was a peak 5th-grade Human Supreme. The 2nd Vajra, Vajra Bao, was a peak 5th-grade Human Supreme. The 1st Vajra, Vajra Bao, was a peak 5th-grade Human Supreme who was infinitely close to becoming a 6th-grade Human Supreme. Rumor had it that the 4 great Vajras were extremely powerful and could easily challenge opponents of a higher level. In other words, a peak 5th-grade Human Supreme like the 4 great Vajras could easily fight against a 6th-grade Human Supreme. Venerable Mingyang, no matter what you say today, I will kill the 8-legged centipede. Jioding the Venerable snorted and said, I can let bygones be bygones for Zhang Jun's death, and I can wait until we leave the Beast King's palace to settle the score with them. But Bao Chang's death must be avenged now. You can fight if you want, but don't do it in the core hall. Seeing that Juding the Venerable was not giving him any face, Venerable Ming Yang said in a deep voice, "Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Who do you think you're to talk to me like that?" Juding the Venerable said coldly, "I will kill the eight-legged centipede even if the Emperor of Heaven is here today. No one can stop me. What if we are included?" Shintian and Venerable Corpse Crane could no longer bear to Juding the Venerable's arrogance. They came to the Beast King's palace to snatch treasures, not to Juding the Venerable and the Earthshaker's battle. Juding the Venerable's face was extremely ugly. In a one-on-one fight, his strength could be ranked top 3 in the core hall. But in a one-on-one fight, he had no chance of winning. "Fine, I'll remember this. After we leave the Beast King's palace, I'll settle the score with you." Juding the Venerable had no choice but to turn around and yell at Ningyu, "Wash your neck and wait. If I want to kill you, it'll be easier than killing an ant." "Anytime." Ningyu shrugged, indicating that he did not care. How weak could the Diamond Ape, which was regarded as the #1 enemy by the Elder in the Heaven-level palace, be? If everything went according to plan, by the time the Diamond Ape came out, there would be no more than 10 martial artists left alive in the hall. Dark Emperor, Gold-Devouring Lion. When the 4 warriors under the Beast King appear, hide in the storage ring for now. Dark Emperor and Gold-Devouring Lion were the weakest. If they stay, they would not have a good ending. Chapter 981. Chapter 981. Supreme Immortal Pill. Ningyu, show off all you want. Let's see how long you can last. Juding the Venerable couldn't stand Ningyu's reaction. In the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, he had seen many half-step Supremes like Ningyu. Every single one of those half-step Supreme Being martial artists would respectfully greet him as Pavilion Master when they saw him. Ningyu's arrogance disgusted him. He made up his mind to ambush Ningyu as long as he had the chance. He wanted to let Ningyu know what a 6th Grade Supreme was like. Since no one has any objections, let's recover as soon as possible. In an hour, the 4 Great Vajras will most likely appear from the Magic Treasure Cave. Venerable Ming Yang's gaze swept across the crowd, and he said in a deep voice, "When the 4 Great Vajras appear, we must work together to deal with them. As long as we can take care of the 4 Great Vajras, the Magic Treasure Cave will spit out magic treasures and pills again." Rumor has it that after killing the 4 Great Vajras, the Magic Treasure Cave will spit out mid-grade royal rank magic treasures and 10th grade pills. Whoosh! Venerable Ming Yang's words ignited the entire core hall. Mid-grade royal rank magic treasures and 10th grade pills. Any one of them will be treasures that everyone would fight over if they were placed outside. Juding the Venerable and the others were fortunate enough to have seen mid-grade royal rank magic treasures, but they had never seen a real 10th grade pill. It was said that 10th grade pills already had their own spirituality, and some could even take the form of a human, with all sorts of strange appearances. In this world, probably all the Supremes hoped to get their hands on a 10th grade pill. If only I could get my hands on a 10th grade pill, I would definitely be able to advance from a 2nd grade human sovereign to a 3rd grade human sovereign. Aren't your ambitions a little too low? If you can give me a 10th grade pill, I'm confident that I can advance to a 4th grade human sovereign. Forget it. You're only a 1st grade human sovereign, and you're dreaming of advancing to a 4th grade human sovereign? What's the difference between that and a toad lusting after a swan? Many of the martial artists in the hall began to discuss. The focus of everyone's discussion was on what realm they could advance to after obtaining a 10th grade medicinal pill. After all, in their hearts, a 10th grade medicinal pill was something that they could only dream of. Ningyu, are you interested in a 10th grade medicinal pill? Talisman Supremacy moved and came to Ningyu's side. He said in a low voice, "That 10th grade medicinal pill is called the Supreme Immortal Pill. It's said that its effects are extremely heaven-defying." Supreme Immortal Pill? Hearing this, Ningyu slightly frowned. What? Supreme Immortal Pill. Soon, Ningyu jumped up. Although he was only a peak ninth grade sovereign in his previous life, he had heard of the sovereign immortal pill. On the surface, the supreme immortal pill was related to supremacy realm martial artists. However, Ningyu knew that the supreme immortal pill had another function. It had the same effect as the mystic moon jade tablet. In fact, it was even stronger than the mystic moon jade token. The mystic moon jade tablet could suppress the extreme in body, preventing it from exploding due to stimulation. On the other hand, the supreme immortal pill could alleviate the extreme in body and extend one's lifespan by dozens of years. Some people with the extreme in body who knew his identity even thought of ways to obtain the supreme immortal pill. But how could the supreme immortal pill be so easily obtained? A 10th grade alchemist was known as a pill emperor. In the vast sky demon domain, there were only a few alchemists that could be known as pill emperors. Seeing Ningyu's huge reaction, Talisman Supremacy frowned. Have you seen the supreme immortal pill before? No. Ningyu shook his head. There's only one supreme immortal pill, and there are so many 6th grade sovereigns here. How can I obtain it? Haha, you don't have to worry about that. I will help you when the time comes. Under my cover, who would dare to compete with you for the supreme immortal pill? Talisman Supremacy smiled. What you should be concerned about now is how to escape after obtaining the supreme immortal pill. As long as I can obtain the supreme immortal pill, escaping won't be a problem. Ningyu said, with the Heaven-Earth Sword Array as his trump card. Ningyu was extremely confident. If he added in the 7 King grade, middle grade flying swords, Ningyu would be able to break through space and escape. All right, then let's come to an agreement. I will help you obtain the supreme immortal pill, but you have to ensure my and Yunmu's safety. Talisman Supremacy transmitted his voice to Ningyu. Furthermore, you have to give me 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. It's a small matter. After Ningyu finished his words, he retreated to the side and took out a royal grade origin crystal to refine. Seeing that Ningyu didn't want to talk, Talisman Supremacy sat down. Aunt Yun, tell Ningyu that the 10th grade elixir is called the Supreme Immortal Pill. Will there be an accident? Yunmu frowned his brows as he muttered. No, the Supreme Immortal Pill isn't something that anyone can obtain. Without what we brought, no one can subdue it. The corner of Talisman Supremacy's lips rose. You mean? Yunmu widened his mouth in disbelief. The Supreme Immortal Pill has already transformed into don't say what you shouldn't say. Before Yunmu could finish his words, Talisman Supremacy coldly said, make the best use of your time to recuperate. Don't let the 4 great Vajras under the Beast King injure you. All right. Being reprimanded by Talisman Supremacy, Yunmu carefully responded and no longer spoke. Ningyu, the cultivator that spoke to you earlier isn't simple. Just when Ningyu sat down, the voice of the old man resounded in his ears. I also know that she isn't simple. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to live until now with the cultivation of a pinnacle 1st grade sovereign. Ningyu said sourly, Venerable Spirit Cauldron, Venerable Evil Dragon, and Venerable Blood Destruction were all 3rd grade sovereigns. A 3rd grade sovereign cultivator couldn't enter the core hall alive, but a 1st grade sovereign, Talisman Supremacy, and Yunmu managed to enter the core hall. Even a fool would know that they weren't simple. You've misunderstood me. The old man's voice resounded once again. What I meant was that there was a terrifying aura coming from that cultivator. That aura could even be compared to me at my peak. You at your peak? At this moment, Ningyu's expression finally changed. According to Ningyu's judgment, the old man's battle prowess at his peak should have reached the level of a pinnacle 6th grade sovereign. He might even have reached the level of a 7th grade sovereign. At my peak, I was an initial 7th grade sovereign. The old man seemed to know what Ningyu was thinking as he continued. There should be a clone hidden on that cultivator. Clone? Ningyu raised an eyebrow and said, Are you sure? I'm sure. The old man continued. You have to be careful of her. Don't be busy counting money for others when she betrays you. Why did you remind me? Ningyu slightly knitted his brows as he asked in doubt. Logically speaking, he and the old man were only using each other, so there was no reason for the old man to help him. Ha! The reason why I'm reminding you is because you're more pleasing to the eye. Chapter 982. Swallowing the Qian Yuan pill. He reminded me because I'm pleasing to the eye? Who are you trying to fool? Ningyu curled his lips at the old man's words. He and the old man were in a mutually beneficial relationship. Why would the old man help him if there were no benefits? According to Ning Yu's speculation, the old man was helping him because he wanted the Supreme Celestial Pill. The Supreme Celestial Pill was a Tier 10 pill. Not only could it suppress the extreming body, but it was also very effective against illusory bodies. The old man should be existing in the form of an illusory body. As long as he could get the Supreme Celestial Pill and find a way to possess a martial artist, there was a high chance that he could be reborn. Ningyu, do you want to take this Qian Yuan pill? Earthshaker came to Ningyu's side and handed the Qian Yuan pill to Ningyu. How do I take it now? Ningyu took the Qian Yuan pill and rolled his eyes at Earthshaker. There are powerful martial artists everywhere, and there are quite a few Tier 6 Supreme Martial Artists. Swallowing the Qian Yuan pill to cultivate here is no different from courting death. Earthshaker was slightly embarrassed. He had neglected this point. In his opinion, Ningyu's strength was not too strong. If he could refine the Qian Yuan pill, he might even be able to advance to Tier 1 Supreme Martial Artist. The situation was getting more and more dangerous. Even if his cultivation improved a little, he might have a higher chance of survival in the upcoming battle. When you fought with Jioding the Venerable just now, you should be able to determine his true strength. Ningyu asked after accepting the Qian Yuan pill. I'm not a match for Jioding the Venerable. Earthshaker answered honestly. When Jioding the Venerable fought with me, he only used 60% of his strength. He was holding back. If he had used his full strength, I definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand it. He didn't use his full strength? Ningyu frowned. If what Earthshaker said was true, then Jioding the Venerable would be a formidable opponent. If I let you consume this Qian Yuan pill, how confident are you that you can defeat Jioding the Venerable? After a moment of silence, Ningyu said, Give me the Heaven Essence pill? Hearing this, Earth-shaking Bull's eyes flashed with a fiery light. The Heaven Essence pill was a 9th grade elixir. Once he consumed it, he would definitely be able to stabilize his cultivation at the 6th grade human sovereign realm. In fact, Earthshaker's battle prowess was still very strong. He had just advanced to the 6th grade human supreme realm, but he could already fight to a draw with Jioding the Venerable at 60% of his strength. One could imagine that if Earthshaker could completely stabilize his cultivation at the 6th grade Supreme Martial Artist realm, he would be able to fight against Jioding the Venerable at full strength. As long as I consume the Qian Yuan pill, Jioding the Venerable won't be able to do anything to me, Earthshaker said confidently. After that, Earthshaker stared straight at Ningyu, his meaning clear. All right, I believe you. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu tossed the Heaven Essence pill to Earthshaker. Remember what you said. If Jioding the Venerable dares to play any tricks, you have to stop him. I promise. Earthshaker patted his chest and promised. Crack. Then Earthshaker tossed the Heaven Essence pill into his mouth and chewed. Seeing how impatient Earthshaker was, Ningyu's face darkened. You didn't even prepare the 9th grade Heaven Essence pill, and you just swallowed it? This is too much. The corner of Ningyu's mouth twitched a few times. He ignored Earthshaker and said to the 8-legged centipede, Protect Earthshaker. Don't let anyone disturb him. After that, Ningyu sat cross-legged, took out a piece of royal-grade origin crystal, and started cultivating. The Beast King's 4 great guardian deities were all abnormal existences. If Ningyu could not adjust his mental state to its peak, he would not be able to fight against the 4th great warrior, the King Goat. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time was ticking away. As Venerable Mingyang and the rest cultivated, they focused on the magic weapon cave. Last 10 minutes. After 50 minutes, Venerable Mingyang said, Everyone get ready. Whoosh. As soon as Honorable Mingyang's words rang out, all the warriors in the hall started to retreat. Among them, the 6th grade human supreme, Venerable Mingyang, Shuntan, the Venerable Corpse Crane, and Juding the Venerable stood at the front. Behind them were the 4th grade Human Supreme, 3rd grade Human Supreme, and the 2nd grade Human Supreme. Earthshaker, what the hell are you doing? Juding the Venerable saw that Earthshaker was still cultivating and immediately scolded. At the same time, the 9 Cauldron Venerable One unleashed his aura to suppress the earth-shaking godly ox. Ningyu scoffed when he sensed the momentum released by the 9 Cauldron Venerable One. He took a step forward and stood in front of the earth-shaking bull. Earthshaker was cultivating. According to Ningyu's estimation, he would need at most 5 minutes to stabilize his cultivation at the 6th grade Human Supreme. At this time, Juding the Venerable wanted to make things difficult for him and wanted to scheme against Earthshaker. Juding the Venerable's idea was something that Ningyu would never be satisfied with. Boom! Not only did Ningyu unleash his aura, even the Dark Emperor, 8-legged centipede, and metal-devouring lion unleashed their aura and stood in front of Earthshaker. You're courting death. Juding the Venerable bellowed and immediately increased his aura again, suppressing Earthshaker in a frenzy. Just now, Juding the Venerable had only unleashed 50% of his aura. But now he was unleashing 80% of his aura. Puffed, puffed. Under Juding the Venerable's powerful aura, the Dark Emperor and metal-devouring lion were the first to give up. They spat out a mouthful of blood and were sent flying several feet away. Puffed. Another minute passed. The 8-legged centipede also could not hold on any longer and spat out a mouthful of blood, following in the footsteps of the Dark Emperor and metal-devouring lion. Ningyu, let's see how long you can last. Juding the Venerable's lips curled into a smirk. In the next moment, Juding the Venerable unleashed all of his aura without holding back. The 100% aura of a 6th grade pinnacle Human Supreme. Even the space was being squeezed to the point where it made a sizzling sound. Under Juding the Venerable's powerful aura, even if Ningyu tried his best to resist, it was useless. After all, Ningyu's cultivation base was only at half supreme. Facing the 100% aura of a 6th grade pinnacle Human Supreme, it was already a miracle that he did not die immediately. Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. Looking at Earthshaker, who was still cultivating, Ningyu clenched his teeth and was about to summon the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. Roar! However, before Ningyu could summon the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation, a deafening roar came from Earthshaker's mouth. Gasp! Hearing the horrifying destructive power contained in the voice, all the cultivators in the core hall sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Venerable Mingyang felt a deep sense of fear from the voice. Earthshaker's strength should be able to fight against me. Venerable Mingyang's expression was extremely solemn. Chapter 983. Vajra, Juding the Venerable, you're courting death. With a loud bellow, Earthshaker unleashed his aura. Not only did it resist Juding the Venerable's aura, it even pushed it back. Poochie. Earthshaker's aura was fierce and fast. Juding the Venerable could not react in time and was affected. He spat a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Rumble. However, just as the Earthshaker was about to unleash his aura to suppress the Juding the Venerable again, a rumbling sound came from the artifact cave. This is bad. Everyone, retreat quickly. The 4 great warriors under the Beast King are coming out. Venerable Mingyang's expression changed drastically when he heard the rumbling sound, and he immediately retreated. The 4 great Vajras were all top-notch existences. Venerable Mingyang did not want to become their target. Seeing that Venerable Mingyang had retreated, Ningyu and the others did not dare to delay and retreated as well. Rumble. The rumbling continued for a few more minutes. When the 5th minute arrived, 2 figures suddenly flew out of the magic treasure cave. Looking at the 2 figures floating in midair, everyone's expression changed drastically. One of them was not a human, but a demonic beast. This demonic beast had 2 horns on its head and a dark golden tail. It looked exactly like a golden war goat. Vajra goat. This demonic beast was one of the 4 King Kong under the Beast King, the King Kong goat. The reason why everyone's expressions changed was because of the Vajra goat's cultivation. Not a peak 5th grade human supreme martial artist, but a genuine 6th grade human supreme martial artist. Everyone's eyes were on the King Kong goat. As for the figure next to it, no one paid attention to it. That was because that figure was a human with a cultivation of half a step into the supreme being realm. Other than Ningyu, which of the cultivators in the hall was lower than the supreme being realm. Therefore, it was understandable that everyone ignored that human. Furthermore, the human beside the Vajra goat was wearing a golden armor, so he couldn't see his face at all. Why does it sound so familiar? In the entire core hall, Ningyu is the only one who paid attention to the armored human. I also feel a little familiar. Not only Ningyu, even the Dark Emperor frowned. Venerable Mingyang, didn't you say that the Vajra goat is a pinnacle 5th grade human sovereign? Why is he a 6th grade human supreme martial artist now? Jioding the Venerable had an ugly expression on his face. The Vajra goat was only the 4th Vajra. Since the Vajra goat had the cultivation of a 6th grade mortal sovereign, one could imagine how terrifying the other 3 Vajra were. You asked me, but who should I ask? Venerable Mingyang couldn't be bothered with jioding the Venerable. Now is not the time to argue. Let's get rid of the Vajra goat before the other 3 come out. Venerable Corpse Crane said in a deep voice. You want to get rid of me? As soon as Venerable Corpse Crane's voice sounded, the Vajra goat's gaze locked onto him and said indifferently. Being locked onto by the Vajra goat's gaze, Venerable Corpse Crane's body trembled. It's actually so powerful. At this moment, Venerable Corpse Crane felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He could not muster the slightest resistance in his heart. Venerable Corpse Crane even had an illusion that he wasn't a match for the Vajra goat. No matter what, it was impossible for him to defeat the Vajra goat. Watch out, it's the bewilderment art. Venerable Mingyang was knowledgeable as he coldly barked. Huff! Venerable Mingyang's roar was effective. Venerable Corpse Crane instantly reacted and took a few steps back. That feeling just now was too terrifying. If it wasn't for Venerable Mingyang's timely warning, he might even have fallen for it. Ah, not bad, not bad. You actually know that I'm using the bewilderment art. The Vajra goat smiled and continued. I'm resting, but you guys are here fighting and disturbing my peace. I have to teach you guys a lesson. Vajra goat, we're the other 3 Vajra goats. Venerable Mingyang seemed to have become the leader as he coldly said. There's no need for the 3 of them to deal with small shrimps like you. I alone am enough. The Vajra goat said in disdain. Oomph. We have 5 6th grade sovereigns on our side, and you only have 1. How can you be our opponent? Venerable Mingyang coldly snorted. Who said that I only have 1 6th grade sovereign on my side? Isn't this one? The Vajra goat pushed the human aside and said, This person trespassed into the core hall. I initially wanted to kill him, but he knew some secrets, so I could only let him live. Ha ha ha! Venerable Mingyang raised his head and laughed before he coldly said, He's only a half-step sovereign. Do you think we're 3-year-olds? You guys are indeed 3-year-olds. The Vajra goat curled his lips and took off the golden armor on the human's face. Boom! As soon as the armor was taken off, the human's aura soared into the sky and only stopped when it reached the 6th grade sovereign realm. Pinnacle 6th grade sovereign realm. At this moment, the human's aura had climbed to the pinnacle 6th grade sovereign realm. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. What kind of person could make a half-step sovereign realm martial artist advance to the 6th grade sovereign realm in an instant? Don't panic, everyone. He's a pinnacle 6th grade sovereign realm martial artist. Venerable Mingyang stared at the human and said in a clear voice, Whoosh! Venerable Mingyang's words dispelled everyone's worries. Otherwise, they would have run away long ago. Vajra goat. At this moment, Ningyu stomped on the ground and dashed out. In the blink of an eye, Ningyu stood in front of the Vajra goat. I have a request, Ningyu said in a deep voice. Oh. Tell me, what do you want from me? The Vajra goat looked at Ningyu with interest. Let this human go, Ningyu said with a shocking tone. What? Ningyu, have you lost your mind? You must have lost your mind. Pleading with the Vajra goat? Isn't that just nonsense? In my opinion, Ningyu is done for. If he dares to provoke the Vajra goat, it will definitely tear him to pieces. Hearing Ning use suicidal words, everyone from the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion mocked him. You're very bold. Why do you want me to let him go? Also, what qualifications do you have to ask me to let him go? The Vajra goat said indifferently. It wasn't angry at Ning Yu's unreasonable actions at all. I can block these people for you. Ning Yu turned around and swept his gaze across Jiuding, the Venerable, and the others. Boom! Ning Yu's words caused all the martial artists in the hall to burst into an uproar. When Ning Yu said that he wanted to save the human beside the Vajra goat, everyone was shocked. Now, Ning Yu said that he wanted to go against everyone. Who wouldn't be angry? Ning Yu, you can't be stupid. Chapter 984. The Mysterious Man. I'm not being stupid. I have to do this. Ning Yu said in a deep voice. You have to do this? Hearing that, the Dark Emperor frowned and asked. This time, Ning Yu did not answer the Dark Emperor. Instead, he turned to the King Kong goat and said, Please remove the human skin mask on his face. Human skin mask? When Venerable Mingyang and the rest heard Ning Yu's words, they turned to look at the face of the human next to the King Kong goat. What they saw immediately shocked them. They were not shocked because they found a human skin mask, but because they did not see anything. Are you kidding me? All right, as you wish. No one knew what was wrong with the King Kong goat. It came in front of the human and pulled the human's face. Rip! The King Kong goat used a lot of force and tore a piece of skin off the human's face. What? Seeing the human's true appearance, the Dark Emperor could not help but yell. Shut up! Ning Yu turned around and glared at the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor returned to normal after being glared at by Ning Yu. It's Ning Hai, Ning Yu's father. Although he looked calm on the surface, the Dark Emperor's heart was in turmoil. This human was none other than Ning Yu's father, Ning Hai. There were two reasons why Ning Yu went to the Beast King Palace. The first was to find his father, Ning Hai. The second was to find the mystic Moon Jade Pendant and try to help Lu Wei solve her extreme body. Now that he saw Ning Hai, the Dark Emperor understood why Ning Yu did this. I don't know him. Venerable Mingyang and Jiuding the Venerable looked at each other and shook their heads. Ever since Ning Hai left Tianxin City a long time ago, no one had seen him. It was reasonable that they did not know Venerable Mingyang. Ning Yu, are you really going to go against us for this human? Venerable Mingyang scolded Ning Yu. The Vajra goat isn't anything good. You working with him is simply helping a villain. Celestial God said coldly. Ning Yu, if you dare to cooperate with the King Kong goat, our corpse sect will issue a corpse-in hunting order for you. Venerable Corpse Crane of the Corpse-in sect said in a deep voice. Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion and Ning Yu are irreconcilable enemies. Jiuding the Venerable said. After pondering for a moment, Ning Yu said, I can cooperate with you to deal with the Vajra goat, Corpse Sect, Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, and Blood God Palace. As for the people from the Supreme Nine Purities Palace, Ning Yu, don't be hypocritical here. I know what you're thinking. Venerable Mingyang interrupted Ning Yu and said coldly, Every person in Tianxin City is a good person. After I leave the Beast King Temple, I will go to Tianxin City and start a massacre. I don't believe I can't find that bastard. Bastard? Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, The bastard you're talking about, is it the same person Yin Hua mentioned? It is the same person, Venerable Mingyang said without hesitation. However, Reverend Mingyang quickly reacted and hurriedly said, Did you kill Yin Hua and Venerable Spirit Cauldron? That's right, I killed him. Since the person Venerable Mingyang and Yin Hua were looking for was Ning Yu, then Ning Yu and Venerable Mingyang no longer had a trace of guilt in their fight. Since you want to kill me, if I don't resist, I will look like a Virgin Mary. King Kong Goat, let him go. I can cooperate with you to deal with anyone here. Ning Yu said, All right, I'll let him go because of what you said. King Kong Goat was very smart. He kicked Ning Hai towards Ning Yu. Swish, swish. Ninghai hadn't flown far when celestial god Venerable and Venerable Corpse Crane rushed out in unison, each unleashing a fatal attack. Earthshaker. Ninghai was Ningyu's father in this life. No matter what, Ningyu would not allow anything to happen to him. Roar. In fact, there was no need for Ningyu to say it. Earthshaker had already risen from the ground and stood in front of Ninghai when Shintian and Venerable Corpse Crane rushed out. A deafening roar reverberated through the air. Shintian and Venerable Corpse Crane were much weaker than Earthshaker. Seeing that Earthshaker attacked, they instantly retreated. After all, Venerable Mingyang and Joding the Venerable did not want to attack. If they attacked now, it would be like standing out. They all understood the principle of shooting the bird that stands out. If they were to attack, they would attack together. No one could act like a coward. Dark Emperor, gold-devouring demon lion, bring him into the storage ring first. Leave the matters here to me. With the help of Earthshaker, Ninghai landed firmly on the ground. Ningyu flicked his wrist and took out the storage ring. Without my permission, none of you can leave the storage ring. Swoosh. As soon as Ningyu finished speaking, a beam of light shot out from the storage ring and illuminated the Dark Emperor and the others within it. Whoosh. In the blink of an eye, the Dark Emperor and the others disappeared. A monarch rank magic treasure? A magic treasure that can store people. Bullsh asterisk T. I know it's a magic treasure that can store people. What I mean is that storage ring a monarch rank magic treasure? You ask me, but who should I ask? In short, that storage ring is a good treasure. Ningyu, I didn't expect you to have so many good treasures on you, Juding the Venerable said sinisterly. After I kill you, this storage ring will belong to me. You want this storage ring? That depends on whether you have the ability, Ningyu said. Ningyu, be careful of the adamantine goat. At this moment, the old man's words resounded in Ningyu's ears again. The adamantine goat is very strong. I suspect it has ulterior motives against you. Who is stronger, you or the Vajra goat? Ningyu's heart moved as he asked. Of course, it's definitely because I'm stronger, the old man said proudly. All right, if the adamantine goat goes back on its word and plots against me, teach it a lesson for me. Ningyu was waiting for the old man to say this. As soon as the old man finished speaking, he said, No, my target is the adamantine ape. I can't deal with the adamantine goat for you. The old man hurriedly refused. What a joke. If I expend too much energy now, how can I compete when I enter the magic treasure cave? Oomph. It's not up to you to decide later. Ningyu snorted in his heart. Retreat in the face of danger and come out when there are benefits. How can there be such a good thing? Ningyu had already decided to use the heaven and earth sword array. If he encountered danger, he would definitely force the old man out. Ningyu, you're too arrogant. Juding the Venerable said in a low voice, Venerable Mingyang, go deal with the adamantine goat. Leave Ningyu to me. Following that, the Nine Cauldron Venerable one flashed and charged at Ningyu at a shocking speed. Damn it! Seeing Joding the Venerable picking on the weak persimmon, Venerable Mingyang and the others cursed in their hearts. However, the current situation did not allow Venerable Mingyang and the others to have other thoughts. Chapter 985 Battle Royale Whoosh. Without a doubt, Earthshaker would first go up against Juding the Venerable. Juding the Venerable was a 6th grade supreme martial artist. On Ningyu's side, only Earthshaker could contend with Juding the Venerable. As for Ningyu and the 8-legged centipede, they were not strong enough to fight against Juding the Venerable. At the very least, on the surface, he was no match for Juding the Venerable. Go. We will grind Ningyu's bones to dust. Yes. Hurry up and kill Ningyu. Avenge Yi-1, Bao Chong, and Zhang Jun. Ningyu doesn't know what's good for him. He deserves to die. Everyone, let's attack together. I don't believe we can't kill him. Seeing Joding the Venerable and the Earthshaker fight, the remaining powerhouses of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion roared and rushed towards Ningyu. Ningyu was only a half-step supreme being. How powerful could he be? In the eyes of the remaining cultivators of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, Ningyu's strength was at most that of a fourth-grade human sovereign. As long as they worked together, killing Ningyu would be a piece of cake. If you want to kill Ningyu, have you asked for my permission? The eight-legged centipede took a step forward and coldly snorted. I can even kill a pinnacle fourth-grade human sovereign, Bao Chong, let alone small fries like you. Whoosh! After being berated by the eight-legged centipede, the nine-furnace divine pavilion martial artists all stopped. Bao Chang's tragic death was still vivid in their minds. Trash! All of you are trash. All martial artists above grade 3 human supreme, deal with the eight-legged centipede. Martial artists below grade 3 human supreme, deal with Ningyu. While Jioding the Venerable was fighting with the Earthshaker, he did not forget to remind him. Voila! The Nine Cauldron Venerable One's words were very effective. After Bao Chong and the others were killed, the Nine Furnace Divine Pavilion still had 15 martial artists remaining. Among them, there were 7 third-grade human supremes, 7 second-grade human supremes, and 1 fourth-grade human supremes. Currently, 7 grade 3 human supremes and 1 grade 4 human supremes were charging towards the eight-legged centipede, engaging it in a fierce battle. The remaining 7 second-grade supreme martial artists rushed towards Ningyu. I'll let you know how powerful I am. The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled slightly as he watched the martial practitioners approaching him. Soon after, the red demon's sword appeared, and a couple of sword glows slashed out in the air. These sword lights were so powerful that even the void began to tremble. Puff! One of the second-grade supreme martial artists was caught off guard and was hit by the sword light. The sword light that Ningyu slashed out could be said to be extremely powerful. Not to mention a second-grade supreme martial artist, even an ordinary third-grade supreme martial artist would not dare to say that they could block it. Gulp! Seeing that Ningyu had killed a second-grade supreme martial artist with a single slash, the martial practitioners of the Nine Furnace Divine Pavilion all stopped in their tracks, not daring to move forward. Wasn't Ningyu a little too powerful? That was a second-grade supreme martial artist, and he was actually killed by him with a single slash? Everyone, don't be afraid. No matter how powerful he is, he's only a half-step supreme martial artist. I don't believe that he can overturn the heavens. After a while, another second-grade supreme martial artist from the Nine Furnace Divine Pavilion let out a low roar and instantly charged out. This second-grade supreme martial artist was very smart. He did not fight Ningyu head-on, but took out a king-grade, middle-grade flying sword and blasted out a shocking sword light in the air. Soaring Heaven's Sword Art. Soaring Heaven's Sword Art, a king-grade, upper-grade martial skill. When executed to the extreme, its power is comparable to a king-grade top-grade martial skill. Zhao Hu's cultivation is at the peak of second-grade supreme martial artist. Coupled with the Soaring Heaven's Sword Art, he has an 80% chance of killing Ningyu. Of course, it seems that we don't even need to do anything. Ningyu will be, what? However, before the last martial practitioner could finish his sentence, his mouth was slightly agape, and his face was filled with fear. He saw Ningyu holding the red demon's sword in his hand. He took a step forward and arrived before Zhao Hu. The red demon sword waved repeatedly, dispersing the Soaring Heaven Sword Art that Zhao Hu had slashed out. Then, Ningyu stabbed out with the red demon sword in a straight line. Puff! The sound of a flying sword stabbing into flesh rang out. The martial practitioners of the Nine Furnace Divine Pavilion were all dumbfounded. If the previous second-grade supreme martial artist was killed because of carelessness, then the fact that Zhao Hu was killed even after using the Soaring Heaven Sword Art was enough to show how terrifying Ningyu was. In just a few seconds, 2 second-grade human supremacies were killed. The remaining 5 second-grade supreme martial artists even began to retreat, not daring to advance. A bunch of trash. The Nine Furnace Divine Pavilion's 4th-grade supreme martial artist, Zhang Chong, led 7 third-grade supreme martial artists to attack the 8-legged centipede, and they even had the upper hand. When he saw that 2 second-grade supreme martial artists had died, he immediately cursed. You guys hold them off first. I'll be right back. With a low grunt, Zhang Chong's figure flashed, and he flew towards Ningyu. Zhang Chang was a fourth-grade supreme martial artist, so he was very confident. In his opinion, Ningyu had been overdrawing his life force. When Ningyu killed, he won just now. He must have used up all his trump cards. The current Ningyu was strong on the outside, but empty on the inside, not worth mentioning. Ningyu, I'll help you. Seeing Zhang Chang rush towards Ningyu, the eight-legged centipede hurriedly said, "There's no need. A mere fourth-grade supreme martial artist can't stop me." Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that the eight-legged centipede didn't need to help. He could even kill He-Won, so why would he be afraid of Zhang Chang? One had to know that Zhang Chang's strength was more than a level lower than He-Wen's. "Arrogant," Zhang Chang roared, and his fist brought with it an extremely violent Yuan Qi gale, ruthlessly smashing towards Ningyu. Zhang Chang used 100% of his strength in this move, all for the sake of killing Ningyu in one move. 3 lives palm. Although Ningyu was very confident in killing Zhang Chang, he still chose to go all out against Zhang Chang's fist. "Hit the snake where it hurts, don't hold back." This sentence had always been Ningyu's code of conduct. As long as he was determined to kill someone, he couldn't hold back. He had to go all out and thoroughly kill that person. Haha, how can a soft palm print block my fist light? Zhang Chang laughed when he felt the Yuan Qi ripple on Ningyu's palm. Is that so? The corner of Ningyu's lips curled up, and the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness frantically poured into his palm. Qi. Ningyu was already at the half-step supremacy realm, so he had a lot of Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness. When the Yuan Qi poured into his palm, it immediately caused a Qi sound. Zhang Chang, take this 3 lives palm. As Ningyu spoke, a huge palm print peeled off from Ningyu's palm. Swish, swish, swish. In midair, the palm print split into 3 and shot towards Zhang Chang from 3 different directions. What? Feeling the majestic Yuan Qi ripple on the 3 palm prints, Zhang Chang's expression finally changed. This was not a move that a half-step supremacy realm martial artist could execute. Even as a grade 4 human supremacy realm martial artist, he couldn't execute this move. Let's do it. However, the current situation was like an arrow on a bowstring, and Zhang Chang had no choice but to release it. Chapter 986. Boom. Swish. In midair, when the 3 palm prints were about to reach Zhang Chang, they suddenly combined into one and turned into 1 palm print. Qi. The 3 lives palm was already very powerful when it was just 3 palm prints. Now that the 3 had combined, its power had increased by several times. The powerful pressure brought by the blood-red palm print made the surrounding 9 cauldrons divine pavilion martial artist pale. What kind of palm print is that? Why do I feel that it's so powerful? I'm not sure, but Ningyu is only at the half-step supremacy realm. How can he be so powerful? What's the use of being powerful? Zhang Chang is a grade 4 supreme being. He's extremely powerful. Ningyu is like a mantis trying to... At the end of his sentence, the last martial artist stuttered, because as he spoke, Zhang Chang's fist had already collided with the 3 lives palm. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out in the hall. What followed was a blood-curdling scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. What? Zhang Chang lost. This is impossible. Zhang Chang is a grade 4 supreme being. He's so powerful. How could he be defeated? Absolutely impossible. Ningyu must have used some kind of demonic technique. The 9 cauldrons divine pavilion martial artists exclaimed when they saw Zhang Chang's miserable state. They didn't dare to believe it. They didn't want to believe it. If even a grade 4 supreme being like Zhang Chang was defeated, how could they, the grade 2 and grade 3 supreme beings, survive? Therefore, the 9 cauldrons divine pavilion martial artists wanted to live in a dream. Cough, cough. In the distance, Zhang Chang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He coughed twice and said in a deep voice, Ningyu, I admit that you're strong, but aren't you a little too arrogant to think that you can kill me like this? Arrogant? I'm never arrogant, because you'll be killed soon. Ningyu shrugged and said, Haha, I'll stand right here. Let's see how you're going to puff. Hearing Ningyu's words, Zhang Chang roared with laughter. However, Before Zhang Chong could finish laughing, he stopped abruptly and spat out a mouthful of blood. Young people shouldn't be too arrogant. Sometimes, it's not a bad thing to listen to the opinions of others. The eight-legged centipede suddenly appeared beside Zhang Chong and struck his heart. Zhang Chong was already heavily injured, and now that he was ambushed by the eight-legged centipede, his aura immediately dropped to the freezing point. He was on the verge of death. "Go, all of you go. Kill them, and chop them into mincemeat." Zhang Chong's face was extremely gloomy as he roared with all his strength. "Let's see who dares to come over." Ningyu took a step forward, holding the red demon sword horizontally in front of his chest as he spoke coldly. Voila! The 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's Grade 2 and Grade 3 human supremes wanted to attack at first. However, when they saw Ningyu standing in front of Zhang Chong like a god of war, they immediately stopped. Ningyu's strength had left an indelible impression in their hearts. On top of that, there was also the Grade 4 human supreme 8-legged centipede, eyeing them like a tiger watching its prey. If they went up to fight Ningyu now, they would be courting death. Damn it, do you guys want to die? Seeing the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's warriors stop moving, Zhang Chong cursed. "Hurry up and kill Ningyu and the 8-legged centipede. They're both arrows at the end of their flight and are in a weakened state. If you give them time to recuperate and recover to their peak condition, all of you will die." Zhang Chong's words had a great effect. After thinking for 3 seconds, the remaining 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion experts charged at Ningyu and the 8-legged centipede. Among them, the Grade 3 human supremes faced the 8-legged centipede, while the Grade 2 human supremes faced Ningyu. All kinds of spells flew out, covering the entire void. 8-legged centipede. Let's see who gets rid of them first. Ningyu looked at the 8-legged centipede, then rose from the ground and charged into the crowd of Grade 2 human supremes with the red demon sword in his hand. The moment an expert made a move, it was clear whether he was strong or not. Even if 5 Grade 2 human supremes joined forces, they were not Ningyu's match. Ningyu charged left and right in the midst of the 5 Grade 2 human supremes, and with every sword strike, a Grade 2 human supreme would be injured. Compared to Ningyu, the 8-legged centipede was a little pressured. After all, the 8-legged centipede had just experienced a huge battle with Bao Chong and had consumed too much of its energy. Now, facing the siege of 7 Grade 3 human supremes, it could only barely resist. It did not have the absolute suppressive power that Ningyu had. "Earthshaker, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me, and not only will I not kill you, but I'll also provide you with a large amount of resources so that you can cultivate to Grade 7 Human Supreme as soon as possible." While Ningyu was still entangled with the Grade 2 Sovereign of the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion, the 9 Cauldron Venerable, who was in midair, forced the earth-shaking Divine Ox back with a single move. After a period of battle, Juding the Venerable already knew how powerful Earthshaker was. Unless he used his ultimate trump card, there was no way he could kill Earthshaker. Since only the Vajragoat had come out of the magic treasure cave, Juding the Venerable would not foolishly use his trump card. "You want me to submit to you?" Earthshaker raised his eyebrows and said, "Have you lost your mind?" Since Ningyu had the absolute upper hand, Earthshaker did not have to worry at all. Therefore, he was not in a hurry and could slowly entangle with Juding the Venerable. "I'm not crazy," Juding the Venerable explained. "In the entire hall, you and I are the strongest. As long as we work together, we can definitely kill everyone else. When the time comes, we'll split the Supreme Immortal Elixir and Middle Grade Royal Artifact. You get the Supreme Immortal Elixir, and I get the Middle Grade Royal Artifact. That good? Why don't you give me some benefits first?" Earthshaker's face revealed a fiery expression. "What benefits do you want?" Juding the Venerable frowned. "It's simple. 1,000 Royal Grade Origin Crystals," Earthshaker said. "All right, I'll give you 1,000 Royal Grade Origin Crystals." Juding the Venerable did not even think. He took out a storage bag and threw it to Earthshaker. "That good?" Looking at the storage pouches flying towards him, Earthshaker Godly Ox was a little stunned. There was no reason for Juding the Venerable to give him 1,000 Royal Grade origin crystals. There was definitely something fishy going on. Oh no! At this thought, Earthshaker's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly retreated. Ha! Earthshaker, isn't it a little too late to retreat now? Juding the Venerable laughed maniacally when he saw Earthshaker's flustered expression. Rumble. In the next moment, the storage bag suddenly exploded. The huge shockwave seemed to have eyes of its own as it blasted towards Earthshaker. Damn it! Earthshaker was not weak. After all, he was a 6th grade human supreme. Moreover, after consuming the Qianyuan elixir, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. After cursing in his heart, Earthshaker released the energy in his body and formed an energy shield in front of him. Chapter 987. Agreement Humph. You actually want to take it head on? You're simply courting death. Jioding the Venerable snorted coldly when he saw that the Earthshaker was not running away, but was trying to withstand the shockwaves from the explosion of the storage pouch. A long time ago, I used the items in my storage pouch to kill a 6th grade human supreme martial artist by surprise. Even though you're a demonic beast, there's nothing you can do. Jioding the Venerable could already picture the scene of Earthshaker being killed. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and looked at Earthshaker with interest. While he was looking at the Earthshaker, he also shifted his gaze to Ningyu. F*CK. The 9 Cauldron Venerable One's face darkened when he took a look. While he was distracted, Zhang Chong, a 4th grade human supreme, had already been killed. Furthermore, there were only 2 or 3 2nd and 3rd grade human sovereigns left. Trash, all of you are trash. Jioding the Venerable gnashed his teeth in anger. He made up his mind to capture Ningyu as soon as he killed the Earthshaker. Jioding the Venerable would not kill Ningyu. He wanted to torture Ningyu slowly and make Ningyu die in agony. Jioding the Venerable, you dare to be distracted while fighting me? Aren't you a little too arrogant? At this moment, Earthshaker's voice rang in Jioding the Venerable's ears. Upon hearing the voice, the 9 Cauldron Venerable One was slightly stunned, and he quickly turned around. Damn it! As soon as Jioding the Venerable turned around, he saw Earthshaker unleashing a powerful attack on him. Cursing inwardly, Jioding the Venerable quickly dodged. However, it was too late for Jioding the Venerable to dodge at that moment. Bang! The Earthshaker used the horn on its head to fiercely hit Jioding the Venerable, pushing Jioding the Venerable far away. The 9 Cauldron Venerable One only stopped when it hit the wall of the core hall. Poochie! He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Jioding the Venerable's aura, which was at its peak, instantly dropped by 10%. Earthshaker, good job. Jioding the Venerable wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth and said fiercely. Jioding the Venerable felt a little scared. If he had not reacted in time, this attack from Earthshaker would have been enough to kill him. Even so, Jioding the Venerable's strength had decreased by 10%. Jioding the Venerable was no match for Earthshaker when he was at his peak, let alone Earthshaker who had lost 10% of his power. I have to think of a way to get Shintian and the rest to come and help. Jioding the Venerable's eyes darted around, trying to come up with a countermeasure. At the same time, Jioding the Venerable also split a bit of his perception to look at Shintian. In the distance, Shintian, Venerable Corpse Crane, and Venerable Mingyang were working together to deal with the Vajra Goat. The Vajra Goat was very powerful. It was not at a disadvantage even when fighting against 3 6th grade human supremes. On the contrary, the Vajra Goat was still suppressing Venerable Mingyang and the rest. They're all sly old foxes. They don't want to use their trump cards. Jioding the Venerable cursed in his heart. In the current situation, no one wanted to be the first to use their trump cards, because whoever used their trump cards first would be at a disadvantage when fighting for the sovereign immortal pills and middle-grade royal treasures. Poochie! 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 Suddenly, 3 figures landed at Jioding the Venerable's feet. Their eyes rolled back, and they died on the spot. Jioding the Venerable, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me and make a heavenly oath. Ningyu's voice rang in Jioding the Venerable's ears. Otherwise, I'll let you know why the flowers are red. Ningyu, who do you think you are? How dare you say such words to me? Juding the Venerable said coldly. I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me, or I'll let you die a horrible death. Haha, Earthshaker, don't hold back. Try your best to kill Juding the Venerable. Ningyu said with a faint smile. I wanted to kill him for a long time. Earth-shaking Bull responded to him. Then it rose and charged at the Nine Cauldron Venerable one again. Hold on. Juding the Venerable was not an idiot. He knew that he could not fight with Earthshaker now. He could only delay Ningyu and then think of a way to escape. Ningyu, I have 5,000 royal grade origin crystals here. I'll give them all to you. Juding the Venerable took out a storage bag from his chest and said in a clear voice, You get the royal grade origin crystals. From now on, we'll mind our own business. That's impossible. You're an arrow at the end of its flight. If I want to kill you, it'll be as easy as taking something out of my pocket. Why should we mind our own business? Ningyu shrugged and said, Besides, I don't trust you. I am the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's master. If you don't trust me, then no one could trust you. Juding the Venerable coldly snorted and said, 5,000 royal grade origin crystals in exchange for us minding our own business. Otherwise, we'll all die together. Actually, if you want me to stop, it's not impossible. As long as you give me the low-grade royal grade flying sword and 5,000 royal grade origin crystals, I'll agree to your request. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, Kaka. Juding the Venerable was so angry that his face turned ashen. A man who was never content was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. 5,000 royal grade origin crystals was enough to make Juding the Venerable's heart ache, not to mention the addition of a low-grade royal grade flying sword. But the current situation did not allow Juding the Venerable to think too much. 3 seconds. Juding the Venerable thought for 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, Juding the Venerable gritted his teeth and said, I agree to your request. But you have to swear to the heavens that you cannot attack me in the Beast King's palace. That's simple. Ningyu swore an oath to the heavens on the spot. Hearing Ningyu swear an oath to the heavens, Juding the Venerable flicked his wrist and threw the storage bag and low-grade royal grade flying sword to Ningyu. Pa! After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu used a bit of his perception to check the number of origin crystals inside. Then he nodded and said, There are indeed 5,000 royal grade origin crystals. It seems that you're quite rich. I plan on personally making a trip to the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's headquarters after leaving the Beast King's palace. You're welcome anytime, Juding the Venerable coldly said. However, Juding the Venerable still had a sentence in his heart that he didn't say. Whether or not you can leave the Beast King's palace alive is still unknown. You actually want to go to the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's headquarters? That's simply wishful thinking. Although Juding the Venerable had promised not to attack Lin Ming in the Beast King's palace, others could. Whether it was the Venerable Ming Yang or Shen Tian, as long as they were given enough benefits, they would be more than happy to kill Ningyu. After all, Ningyu was currently standing on the opposite side of all of them. He was incomparably savage. Earthshaker, 8-legged centipede, take these royal grade origin crystals and divide them among yourselves. Take advantage of this time to cultivate. Ningyu casually tossed the storage bag to Earthshaker. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Juding the Venerable's lips twitched. That was 5,000 royal grade origin crystals. And he gave it to 2 monster beasts just like that? This was far too extravagant. Juding the Venerable, hurry up and help me. Chapter 988. Exposed Venerable Ming Yang. The Nine Cauldron Venerable's face took on a ghastly expression when he heard the shout. Juding the Venerable's plan was to act weak and let Venerable Ming Yang and the rest deal with the King Kong goat. Now that Venerable Ming Yang was calling for help, it would be rude if he did not help. I want to help, but Ningyu and Earthshaker are too strong. I can't get away at all. Struck with a thought, the Nine Cauldron Venerable one quickly asked, Damn it, switch with Shintian. Let Shintian deal with Ningyu while you deal with the King Kong goat with us. Venerable Ming Yang cursed under his breath as he thought of a plan. Swoosh! As Supremacy Ming Yang's voice fell, Supremacy Shun Tian's body flickered as he charged towards Ningyu. Fighting the King Kong goat was too stressful. Now that there was such a good chance to get away, Shun Tian would definitely not let it go. Sly old fox. Juding the Venerable's face darkened when he saw Shun Tian flying in his direction. Since Shun Tian was here, Juding the Venerable had no other choice but to fight the King Kong goat with Venerable Ming Yang and the rest. Ha ha ha, Ningyu die. Shun Tian thought Ningyu was a pushover, so he was excited. Picking on the pushover? Everyone had the same thought. Moreover, when Shun Tian was fighting the King Kong goat, he was under a lot of pressure and was highly focused. If he was not careful, he would turn into ashes. Now that he was fighting Ningyu, he could finally relax. Shun Tian, are you sure you want to fight me? Ningyu slowly opened his eyes and said indifferently, Nonsense. You're just a half-step supreme martial artist. How powerful can you be? Shun Tian said coldly, I'm not strong, but you might have forgotten that Earthshaker is much stronger than you. Ningyu shrugged. Roar. As Ningyu spoke, Earthshaker swallowed a few pieces of royal-grade origin crystals and stood in front of Ningyu. Humph. I don't believe that you still have such powerful combat power. Shun Tian snorted coldly and immediately engaged in battle with the Earthshaker. If you can't kill him within 10 minutes, it's best not to use your full strength. Ningyu sent a mental message to Earthshaker. Ningyu was no fool. The current situation was clear. Whichever side's sixth grade supreme martial artist lost his combat power would become an idiot. If Earthshaker could kill Shun Tian within 10 minutes, he would definitely use his full strength. If he couldn't kill Shun Tian within 10 minutes, it was better to hold back. Rumble. In midair, the battle between Shun Tian and Earthshaker was very loud. Those who didn't know the inside story would think that they were fighting to the death. But Ningyu knew it very well. Both Earth-shaking Godly Bull and Heaven God Venerable did not use their full strength. Earth-shaking Godly Bull used 30% of his strength, while Sky God Supremacy only used 40% of his strength. Everyone was well aware that no one wanted to waste too much of their strength. All martial artists of the Blood God Palace, listen up. Go kill Ningyu. Shun Tian thought that Earthshaker didn't use his full strength because it was his own idea, so he ordered the rest of the martial artists while fighting. I'll reward anyone who can take Ningyu's head with 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. Whoosh! Shun Tian's words set off a storm in the hearts of the martial artists of the Blood God Palace. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. Even the second grade and third grade supreme martial artists of the Blood God Palace only had 500 royal grade origin crystals. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals was enough for them to take the risk to kill Ningyu. Moreover, compared to the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, the Blood God Palace had 2 4th-grade supreme martial artists. 2 4th-grade supreme martial artists would deal with the 8-legged centipede, while the remaining 2nd-grade and 3rd-grade supreme martial artists would surround and kill Ningyu. The plan was perfect. Let's go. Let's attack together. That's right. No matter how strong Ningyu is, how strong can he be? The most important thing now is to prevent Ningyu from recovering. Kill him while he's down. The martial artists of the Blood God Palace shouted as they charged at Ningyu. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 2 4th-grade supreme martial artists faced the 8-legged centipede while the rest charged at Ningyu. Aunt Yun, will Ningyu be all right? The battle had been going on for a long time. The 2 people in the hall who were the most unharmed were Yun Mu and the Talisman Supremacy. Their life-saving methods were simply too powerful, so powerful that no one dared to have any thoughts of killing them. After all, before killing them, they had to consider if they could withstand a full-force attack from a 9th-grade supreme martial artist. It's hard to say. He's been through a series of battles. Even an Iron Man can't handle it. The Talisman Supremacy frowned slightly. Ningyu is the key to us getting the Sovereign Immortal Pill. Should we help him? Yin Mu hesitated. Help? How? Should we use our trump card now? The Talisman Supremacy said, You just need to take care of yourself. Leave the rest to me. You don't have to worry about it. All right. A disappointed expression appeared on Yunmu's face. However, the disappointment disappeared in a flash, and she quickly returned to normal. Those who wanted to achieve great things should not be bothered by trifles. According to Yunmu's speculation, as long as she could get the sovereign immortal pill and complete that task, she would have the opportunity to increase her cultivation to a very high level. What a lingering spirit! Ningyu's face turned ugly as he looked at the approaching experts from the Blood God Palace. Earthshaker, go all out. Even if you can't kill Shintian, you have to teach him a lesson. We both know this, but you're playing this game with me. Since that's the case, don't think about having an easy time. Eight-legged centipede. Can you deal with two fourth-grade human supremacies? Ningyu not only fought with Earthshaker, but also asked the eight-legged centipede. Ningyu was very confident in his strength. The Blood God Palace's second-grade and third-grade human supremacies would not be able to hurt him. If the eight-legged centipede could handle it, he wouldn't have to worry. No problem. Leave it to me. They're much weaker than Zhang Chong. Neither of them is a match for me. The eight-legged centipede promised. All right. Ningyu's eyes turned cold as he slashed with a red devil sword. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In a split second, several sword waves appeared and blasted towards the experts from the Blood God Palace. What? Supreme 9 Purities sword skill. Ningyu is the one we're looking for. That's the bastard. Otherwise, no one in the Great Xia Kingdom can cultivate the Supreme 9 Purities sword skill. We can wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it by chance. Friends from the Blood God Palace, we're here to help you. Yes, we're here to help you. As expected, after Ningyu performed the Supreme 9 Purities sword skill, the experts from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple all joined in the siege. Chapter 989. Chapter 989. Encirclement, attacking together? In fact, Ningyu already knew that he would be discovered before he used solitaire. The only thing that surprised Ningyu was that the people from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple attacked him together. Ningyu might not feel any pressure when facing the experts from the Blood God Palace alone. But now, even the people from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple attacked him together, which more or less put some pressure on him. After all, there were more than 32nd and 3rd grade human supreme cultivators, being besieged by so many experts, not to mention that Ningyu is only a half-step supreme cultivator. Even if Ningyu is a 1st grade human supreme cultivator now, it would still be a bit difficult. Heaven and Earth Sword Array. Fortunately, Ningyu had the Heaven and Earth Sword Array. Facing so many experts, Ningyu's Solitaire and 3 Lives Palm were no longer of much use. Only by using the Heaven and Earth Sword Array could he have a chance of survival. Swish, 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 swish. Ningyu shouted in a low voice. 7 flying swords flew out from his body. The 7 king-grade medium flying swords hovered above Ningyu's head, but they didn't attack immediately. Whoosh! Seeing the 7 king-grade medium flying swords hovering above Ningyu's head, the people from the Blood God Palace and the Supreme 9 Purities Temple all stopped and looked shocked. They were all supreme cultivators, so they naturally knew the horror of the sword array. Swish! Maybe the Heaven and Earth Sword Array had attracted the warriors of the Corpsine sect. After Ningyu used the Heaven and Earth Sword Array, the 2nd grade and 3rd grade human supreme cultivators of the Corpsine sect also joined in the attack on Ningyu. The lineup of the Corpsine sect was a bit strong this time. 2 4th grade human supreme cultivators and 1 5th grade human supreme cultivator. Without a doubt, the 4th grade human sovereign and the 5th grade human sovereign charged towards the 8-legged centipede and fought it together with the 2 4th grade human sovereigns from the Blood God Palace. Originally, the 8-legged centipede didn't feel that much pressure, but now that 3 powerhouses had joined the battle, he immediately felt the pressure multiply. The 8-legged centipede can only last for 5 minutes at most. Since the 3 forces were still observing from the sidelines, Ningyu was able to split some of his perception to pay attention to the 8-legged centipede. The eight-legged centipede could only last for 5 minutes at most. He might not even be able to hold on for 5 minutes. Ningyu, how about we make a deal? Perhaps it was because he saw Ningyu's predicament. The old man's words suddenly rang in Ningyu's mind. Give me that low-grade monarch rank flying sword you just obtained. I'll help you deal with these small fries. Is that true? Ningyu frowned and asked. How could the words of the sword of evil, be false? The old man smiled faintly. Ningyu's eyes darted around as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. In his current situation, he might only have a chance of survival if venerable sword evil intervened. If the sword of evil only wanted the monarch rank flying sword, he could give it to him. However, Ningyu was afraid that the sword of evil would play some tricks. Just when Ningyu was deep in thought, the eight-legged centipede was hit by a fourth-grade human sovereign and was sent flying several meters away, spurting out a mouthful of blood. Fine, I'll give you the monarch rank flying sword. Seeing the eight-legged centipede's miserable state, Ningyu let out a low growl and directly threw the monarch rank flying sword towards the eight-legged centipede. Good plan. The corner of the sword of evil's mouth curled up. He then rushed out from one of the king rank middle-grade flying swords and rushed towards the monarch rank flying sword at an extremely fast speed. Kill him. The sword of evil quickly grasped the low-grade monarch tier flying sword in his hand and slashed out a huge sword beam in the air. The sword ray was as thick as a person's waist, and its power was several times that of Ningyu's solitaire. Puff! The speed of the sword ray was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived before a fourth-grade human supreme who was attacking the eight-legged centipede. The fourth-grade sovereign was wondering if he could kill the eight-legged centipede with a single move and gain some benefits from it. However, he did not expect that he would be the first to be struck by the sword ray. Again, venerable sword evil slashed out another 3 sword rays after his first attack. Every single sword gleam had a target. The 3 sword lights were aimed at 3 fourth-grade mortal supremes. Although the remaining 3 fourth-grade human supremes were prepared and put up a defense, they were still unable to withstand the attack. However, their bodies were still cut by the sword rays. He's actually so strong. Seeing the sword of evil defeat 4 fourth-grade human supremes in a few moves, Ningyu could not help but be shocked. In the core hall, Ningyu had to face many formidable opponents. Venerable Ming Yang, Jioding the Venerable, Shuntian, Venerable Corpse Crane, King Kong Goat, and Venerable Talisman Marshal. Now, there was the Sword of Evil. With so many experts suppressing Ningyu, Ningyu fell a little breathless. Heaven and Earth Sword formation, go! Ningyu shook his head, trying hard not to think too much. There would always be a way out. Anyway, with the Sword of Evil blocking for the time being, there was no need to worry about the eight-legged centipede's safety. With a low roar, Ningyu displayed the Heaven and Earth Sword formation and controlled the 7 mid-grade king tier, flying swords to charge into the crowd. Puff, puff, puff. Since Ningyu attacked quickly, the first round of attacks from the Heaven and Earth Sword formation only injured 2 second-grade human supremes and 1 third-grade human supremes. Everyone, let's attack together. Don't think too much. Capture Ningyu and force that expert to stop. With no 4th-grade human supremes present, a peak 3rd-grade human supremes from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple became the leader. He said coldly, Ningyu is only powerful because of his sword formation. As long as we control the sword formation, he will be a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. He will be at our mercy. All 2nd-grade human supremes, find a way to control the sword formation. 3rd-grade human supremes, follow me to capture Ningyu. Rumble. The 3rd-grade human supremes was called Lin Yuan. As soon as he finished speaking, he was the first to launch a powerful attack. Seeing Lin Yuan's attack, the remaining 3rd-grade human supremes did not dare to be negligent and attack Ningyu one after another. As for the other 2nd-grade human supremes, they wisely went to control the Heaven and Earth Sword formation. However, dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. A 2nd-grade human supremes wanted to control the sword formation. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were daydreaming. In an instant, another 3-second grade human supremes were defeated and fell to the ground, on the verge of death. If they had gone all out to control the sword formation or attack Ningyu, they might have succeeded. But now, they were destined to embark on a path of no return. Reality proved how important a good leader was to a team. Red Devil, follow me to battle. Ningyu's eyes shone with a frightening light. With the Red Devil sword in hand, he fought with Lin Yuan on the spot. Ding! The Red Demon's sword collided with the high-grade king rank flying sword in Lin Yuan's hand, and a crisp sound rang out. The intense pain from the webbing between his thumb and forefinger sent Lin Yuan flying several feet away. His face was filled with horror. I'm no match for this kid. Almost in an instant, Lin Yuan determined that he was no match for Ningyu. If he forcefully made a move, he would only be killed. I've already injured Ningyu. Next, you guys deal with him. I'll help control the Heaven and Earth Sword formation. Chapter 990. You want to leave? It won't be that easy. You want to leave? Not so easy. Seeing that Lin Yuan was about to leave, Ningyu's lips curled into a smile, and he charged out with the Red Demon's sword in his hand. Oh no! Lin Yuan already knew how terrifying Ningyu was through that move just now. Moreover, the area between his thumb and forefinger was extremely sore, so it was unwise to fight with Ningyu head-on. Go! Stop Ningyu! Lin Yuan shouted and hurriedly ordered the remaining third-grade human supremes to surround Ningyu. Ningyu has already been injured by me. He's at the end of his rope now, and his strength isn't even 1/10 of his peak. In order to make these third-grade human supremes fearless, Lin Yuan even started to use deceptive means. Whoosh! As expected, Lin Yuan's deceptive means worked. The third-grade human supremes from the Blood God Palace, the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, and the Corpse Sect all roared and charged at Ningyu. They all wanted to be the first martial artist to kill Ningyu. What a good plan, but it's a pity. Ningyu's speed was very fast, and he arrived in front of Lin Yuan in the blink of an eye, blocking Lin Yuan's path. Holding the Red Demon's sword in front of his chest, Ningyu said indifferently, "In the face of absolute strength, all schemes are useless." Ha ha ha! Ningyu, you want to kill me? You're a bit too infatuated. Ha! However, before Lin Yuan could finish laughing, he spat out a mouthful of dark red blood. You! Lin Yuan looked down at the red, flying sword at his heart and pointed at Ningyu with his right hand. He wanted to say something, but his body fell backward the moment he said it. Bang! Lin Yuan's body fell heavily on the ground, and his face was extremely pale. At this moment, Lin Yuan, a peak third-grade human supremes, died on the spot. Boom! Lin Yuan's death caused a great commotion in the surroundings. After all, Lin Yuan's cultivation was at the peak of grade 3 human supreme realm. Even he was killed by Ningyu with a single move. How could the others possibly be a match for Ningyu? Puff, puff, puff. At this moment, the Heaven and Earth Sword Array unleashed its power. 7 King grade, mid-grade flying swords pierced through the hearts of 7 second-grade sovereign realm human cultivators. The sound of blood spurting out could be heard. 7 second-grade supreme martial artists followed in Lin Yuan's footsteps. Come here. Ningyu didn't follow up with another attack. Instead, with a flick of his wrist, he controlled the 7 mid-grade king rank flying swords to return to his side, and then they floated above his head. Not only did Ningyu need to consume his primordial chi, but the Heaven-Earth Sword Array also needed to consume a huge amount of primordial chi. Although the Heaven and Earth Sword Array had killed 7 second-grade supremes in a short period of time, it had also consumed a lot of the elemental energy within. Ningyu took advantage of this opportunity to replenish the Heaven and Earth Sword formation, ensuring that the Heaven and Earth Sword formation remained at its peak. Crack! Taking out a few royal-grade origin crystals from his storage pouch, Ningyu didn't care about the strange gazes of the crowd. He sat down cross-legged and started refining them. After advancing to the half-step supremacy realm, Ningyu's speed of refining the origin crystals had increased significantly. In just a few dozen seconds, he had already refined a few royal-grade origin crystals. Seeing how fast Ningyu was refining the royal-grade origin crystals, the surrounding cultivators were shocked. Gulp! Some of the cultivators even gulped down a mouthful of saliva. What kind of monster is Ningyu? Those are royal-grade origin crystals. How can he refine them so fast? Terrifying. This is too terrifying. Even a 6th-grade supreme martial artist can't refine the origin crystals as fast as Ningyu, right? No, Shuntian is also a 6th-grade supreme martial artist. In such a short period of time, he can only refine 2 royal-grade origin crystals at most. While Ningyu was refining the origin crystals, none of the cultivators dared to make a move. They all understood the principle of shooting the bird that pokes its head out. Lin Yuan was the one who poked his head out. He wanted to kill Ningyu to prove himself, but he failed miserably and was killed by Ningyu in a single move. No one wanted to experience such a miserable experience a second time. Although no one came to disturb him, Ningyu still didn't dare to relax. Phew! Roughly 3 minutes later, Ningyu slowly let out a breath of turbid air and stood up from the ground. There are a total of 23rd-grade Supreme Martial Artists and 32nd-grade Supreme Martial Artists. Ningyu's gaze slowly swept across the cultivators in front of him. He murmured, "With my current strength, I can instantly kill a 2nd-grade or 3rd-grade Supreme Martial Artist. Facing so many 2nd-grade and 3rd-grade Supreme Martial Artists, it's extremely strenuous for me." Ningyu knew his own strength very well, so he wasn't arrogant. If he forcefully made a move now, it was likely that he would fail miserably like Lin Yuan. I have to think of a way to defeat them one by one. Ningyu's eyes darted around as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. After a while, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, "Lin Yuan sneak attacked me first. I'm now a mortal enemy of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. I hope the people from the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace won't interfere." Whoosh! Hearing Ningyu's words, the cultivators from the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace began to have evil thoughts. If they could let the people from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple fight with Ningyu first, they could also exhaust Ningyu's fighting strength. Once Ningyu showed signs of weakness, it might not be a bad decision for them to make a move. Rustle. As a result, the cultivators from the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace tacitly took a few steps back. Their goal was clear. They wouldn't interfere blindly. They would let Ningyu fight with the cultivators from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple first. When the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. Everyone knew this principle. Oomph. Blood God Palace, Corpse Sect, do you want to get rid of the donkey when it's no longer useful? Seeing the cultivators from the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect retreat, a 3rd-grade Supreme Martial Artist from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple coldly snorted. This 3rd-grade Supreme Martial Artist was called He Ming. Among the cultivators from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he was second only to Lin Yuan. Now that Lin Yuan was dead, he naturally became the leader. He Ming, you can't say that. Ningyu and your Supreme Nine Purities Temple have enmity. It's not good for us to interfere in your matters. That's right. When the conflict between the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and Ningyu is completely resolved, it won't be too late for us to make a move. Burning the bridge after crossing the river. What a good move. He Ming's face was ashen. However, there was nothing he could do now. Since the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect didn't want to deal with Ningyu, he could only bite the bullet. "Little bastard, I want to see how strong you are," He Ming said fiercely. All the cultivators from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple attacked together. "As long as we are confident, we can definitely kill Ningyu." Attack together? Ningyu curled his lips and said, "If you can do anything with confidence in this world, then what's the point of cultivating? You can just meditate every day." Arrogant. He Ming snorted coldly, then rose from the ground and was the first to charge towards Ningyu. Swish, swish, swish. Behind He Ming, 5 2nd-grade Supreme Martial Artists and 6 3rd-grade Supreme Martial Artists rushed towards Ningyu. "Ningyu, do you need help?" Chapter 991. Collapse. Hearing the familiar voice, Ningyu was slightly startled at first. Then he shifted his gaze to the eight-legged centipede. The Sword of Evil had mainly helped the eight-legged centipede in the past. Since the Sword of Evil was free, it meant that he had already helped the eight-legged centipede to victory. 4 fourth-grade supreme martial artists and 1 fifth-grade supreme martial artist could have been killed by the Sword of Evil so quickly? Ningyu found it hard to believe. My God, my God. As it turned out, the Sword of Evil was still very powerful. 5 corpses lay at the feet of the eight-legged centipede. There were exactly 4 fourth-grade supreme martial artists and 1 fifth-grade supreme martial artist. Sword of Evil, it seems that you are very powerful. Why don't you help the Earthshaker and get rid of Shintian? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to trick Venerable Sword Evil into helping him. No way. The Sword of Evil held the low-grade royal flying sword in his hand and floated in the air, showing no signs of making a move. Ningyu, how dare you get distracted while fighting us? I have to say, you are really conceited. The conversation between Ningyu and the Sword of Evil fell into He Ming's ears. He Ming was a third-grade supreme martial artist and was very powerful. He grasped the fleeting opportunity and appeared in front of Ningyu in an instant. His fist carried a violent gust of primordial chi and ruthlessly punched towards Ningyu's heart. Even though He Ming was only a third-grade supreme martial artist, his punch displayed the combat power of a fourth-grade supreme martial artist. In other words, when Ningyu faced He Ming's punch, it was equivalent to facing a fourth-grade supreme martial artist. Triple birth palm. How could Ningyu not notice He Ming's sneak attack? Before He Ming's fist could reach Ningyu, Ningyu poured the essence in his sea of consciousness into his palm and pushed it out. Pa! His palm met his fist. A muffled sound rang out as a figure was sent flying. Bang! Only when his body hit the wall did he manage to stabilize himself. Poochie! It was obvious that this figure had spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura had instantly dropped to the freezing point. Solitaire! Ningyu did not hold back. He stomped his feet on the ground and dashed forward again. This time, Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed out an astonishing sword wave in the blink of an eye. Chi-chi! Wherever the sword wave passed, the air parted. No! Looking at the sword wave approaching him, He Ming let out a hysterical roar. However, reality was reality. The sword wave directly passed through He Ming's heart. He Ming, a third-grade human supreme, died on the spot, just like Lin Yuan. I must find a way to obtain the last few forms of the supreme 9-purity sword art. Ningyu muttered to himself as he held the red demon sword. If not for the first palm strike that heavily injured He Ming, Ningyu's solitaire would not have been able to kill He Ming. The first 6 forms of the supreme 9-purity sword art could instantly kill a manifestation realm martial artist. But against a supremacy realm martial artist, it would not be so effective. In fact, the effect could be described as negligible. Not bad, not bad. Ningyu, you are indeed very strong. Seeing that Ningyu had killed He Ming with a single strike, the Sword of Evil put away the low-grade Emperor flying sword in his hand and slowly landed beside Ningyu. If we work together, we might be able to don't. I'm a human, and you're just an illusory body. How can I work together with you? Ningyu interrupted the Sword of Evil. Haha, so what if I'm an illusory body? As long as you find me a suitable body, I can complete the transformation in an instant. The Sword of Evil did not get angry. Instead, he turned his head and slowly swept his gaze across the martial artists of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Being stared at by the Sword of Evil. The martial artists of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple all revealed a look of fear. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that the Sword of Evil was much stronger than Ningyu. The Sword of Evil was a ruthless person. He could even kill a 4th grade or 5th grade human supreme in an instant, let alone these small fries. If you want to find a body, find it yourself. I will not do such a wicked thing. Ningyu shrugged. There are so many people here. Let me see which one is suitable. The Sword of Evil laughed wildly and suddenly rushed out. Puff, puff, puff. The first area that the Sword of Evil went to was the area where the martial artists of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple were located. In the blink of an eye, 3 martial artists of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple were killed. Apart from the Venerable Ming Yang, there were only 8 Supremes left in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Puff, 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 puff. The Sword of Evil would not hold back. In the blink of an eye, another 4 Supremes from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple were killed. How boring. The physiques of these martial artists are too weak. They can't withstand my possession at all. The Sword of Evil curled his lips and returned to Ning Yu's side. Too weak. I'll leave them to you. I'll rest for a while. As he spoke, the Sword of Evil turned into a shadow and entered one of the King middle grade flying swords. There are still 4 second-grade Supremes left. Since Sword Evil had entered the King middle grade flying sword, Ning Yu did not bother about him. Instead, he slowly swept his gaze across the remaining 4 second-grade Supremes from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Ning Yu, what do you want? No matter how strong he was, even Lin Yuan was killed. The remaining 4 second-grade Supremes were so scared that they almost peed their pants. Don't you know what I want? Ning Yu said indifferently. You people from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple want to kill me. Am I not allowed to kill you? What a joke. Ning Yu, it's not us who want to kill you. The one who wants to kill you is Venerable Ming Yang. It has nothing to do with us. The 4 second-grade Supremes shivered. Haha, you guys are smart. You've put everything aside. Ning Yu smiled. Then he stomped on the ground and dashed out. Puff, 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 puff. Ning Yu's sword was extremely fast. Before the 4 second-grade Supremes could react, he had already stabbed out 4 times. Every stab was aimed at the heart of a Grade 2 human Supreme expert. 4 stabs and 4 second-grade Supremes were all killed. All of you come at me together. After getting rid of all the martial artists from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Ning Yu stood in mid-air with the red demon's sword in his hand. His gaze swept across the martial artists from the Corpse Sect and Blood God Palace. Ning Yu, leave these people to me. You should rest as soon as possible. At this moment, the 8-legged centipede flew over from afar and hovered beside Ning Yu. The reason why the 8-legged centipede didn't attack earlier was that he was cultivating by swallowing royal grade origin crystals. Now that he had recovered to his peak state, he naturally had to share Ning Yu's burden. All right. After pondering for a moment, Ning Yu said, don't hold back. Kill as many as you see. The Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect wanted to cause trouble for Ning Yu. If Ning Yu let them go, it wouldn't be kindness but stupidity. Ning Yu definitely wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Chapter 992. Chapter 992, Inch understood. The 8-legged centipede nodded and instantly rushed toward the warriors of the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect. Not good. Seeing the 8-legged centipede rushing toward them, the warriors of the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect immediately scattered. The 8-legged centipede was a Grade 4 human Supreme, and the strongest among them was only a Grade 3 human Supreme. Moreover, the 8-legged centipede wasn't fighting alone. Once the 8-legged centipede showed any signs of weakness, Ning Yu would definitely help him. In addition to Ning Yu, there was also the Sword of Evil eyeing them covetously from behind. Shintian, save us. Venerable Corpse Crane, we can't hold on any longer. The warriors of the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace began to call for help, hoping to get the help of their Grade 6 human Supreme. However, Shintian and the others couldn't even protect themselves at this time. So how could they have the time to help them? Shintian's opponent was the Earthshaker, but Shintian courted death by asking the warriors of the Blood God Palace to besiege Ning Yu. Now, Ning Yu was angry and told the Earthshaker not to hold back. There was still a gap between Shintian's strength and the Earthshaker's. When the Earthshaker went all out, the pressure on him suddenly increased. There were even a few times when he was almost injured by the earth-shaking Godly Bull. As for the Venerable Corpse Crane, his situation was even worse than Shintian's. The Vajra goat seemed to have gone crazy, and its combat power skyrocketed several times. It didn't hesitate to burn its vitality to fight. It's better to rely on yourself than to rely on others. You'd better pray for yourselves. The eight-legged centipede didn't hold back at all. As soon as he finished his sentence, he began to massacre everyone. I wonder what's going on in the magic treasure cave. Ningyu observed the battle between the eight-legged centipede and the others and found that the corpse insect and blood god palace cultivators were completely dispirited and at an absolute disadvantage. As long as nothing major happened, it was only a matter of time before the eight-legged centipede killed them. The King Kong goat's combat power is indeed terrifying. I must be careful. In the past, Ningyu thought that the King Kong goat would not be too strong. At most, it would be on par with Venerable Mingyang and the rest. But now, Ningyu had changed his mind. The King Kong goat was just too freakish. It was 1 against 3, but it was still able to suppress Venerable Mingyang and the others. One could only imagine how terrifying it would be in a one-on-one battle. Earthshaker, how confident are you in killing Shintian? Ningyu's gaze finally fell on Earthshaker. Then, he transmitted his voice to Earthshaker. Shintian's strength is not too strong. If I go all out, I have an 80% chance of killing him. Earthshaker answered carefully while fighting against Shintian. In a battle between experts, a slight distraction would lead to death. Therefore, Earthshaker could only be careful and did not dare to be too distracted. Don't be arrogant. Shintian is a 6th grade human supreme from Blood God Palace. He must have a trump card, Ningyu said in a deep voice. One should not be arrogant when fighting against anyone. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. I'll be careful. As a 6th grade human supreme, Earthshaker naturally understood this. If you can kill him, then kill him. If you can't, then don't force it. Ningyu thought about it and felt that he should remind Earthshaker. Otherwise, Earthshaker would be in danger if he forced himself to attack. Boom! At this moment, the battle in the distance took a turn. The Vajra goat took advantage of Venerable Corpse Crane's mistake and attacked the latter. Puffed! Venerable Corpse Crane was sent flying a few feet away after spitting out a mouthful of blood. As blood spurted out of Venerable Corpse Crane's mouth, his aura fell from 6th grade Mortal Sovereign to 5th grade Mortal Sovereign. Shintian, switch over quickly. I can't hold on any longer. Venerable Corpse Crane wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and flew toward Shintian. They had agreed to switch over every once in a while. After all, fighting against the Vajra goat consumed too much energy. I'll let you have it. Shintian was worried about not being able to escape. Now that Venerable Corpse Crane was here, he quickly forced Earthshaker back and rushed towards the Vajra goat. Ha ha! Earthshaker, let me, Venerable Corpse Crane, end your arrogance. Venerable Corpse Crane looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. Venerable Corpse Crane's thinking was simple. Fighting against Earthshaker was purely for him to rest. He punched out with 50% of his strength, symbolically blasting towards Earth-shaking Godly Ox. Good chance. Earth-shaking Godly Ox's eyes lit up as he looked at the Venerable Corpse Crane that was approaching him. I'll take your life while you're down. Venerable Corpse Crane's irrational behavior was an illness that had to be treated. However, Earthshaker would never give Venerable Corpse Crane a chance. Not good. Earthshaker injected all the energy in his body into the horn on his head and stabbed it towards Venerable Corpse Crane. Sensing the violent energy contained in the horn on Earthshaker's head, Venerable Corpse Crane's expression changed drastically, and he quickly retreated. However, Venerable Corpse Crane's speed of retreat was clearly slower than Earthshaker's speed of advance. Without a doubt, the earth-shaking Godly Ox's horn pierced through Venerable Corpse Crane's chest. A pig-slaughtering scream was heard. Bean-sized beads of sweat appeared on Venerable Corpse Crane's forehead as his aura dropped once again, dropping from 5th grade Human Sovereign to 4th grade Human Sovereign. Damn it, I'll tear you apart. Venerable Corpse Crane had never suffered such humiliation before. He cursed and immediately took out a black scroll from his bosom. Chi-chi. On the scroll, violent black gas constantly jumped and made sizzling sounds when it came in contact with the air. "Let's die together." Venerable Corpse Crane flipped his wrist and was about to throw the scroll. Poof! However, before Venerable Corpse Crane could throw the scroll, he felt his body lighten and flew several feet away. What? After collapsing, Venerable Corpse Crane looked at his empty palm, his face drained of blood. "This is your trump card." Ningyu separated a bit of his soul force into the scroll to check what it was. Hiss! As soon as his soul force entered the scroll, Ningyu quickly retracted it. If it wasn't for Ningyu's quick reaction, his soul force would have been destroyed. It should be an ancient scroll. Ningyu directly sealed the scroll and threw it into his storage ring. After doing all that, Ningyu slowly came to Venerable Corpse Crane's side and said in a deep voice, "Tell me the incantation to use the ancient scroll, and I'll leave your corpse intact." "Leave my corpse intact? Ha ha ha." At this time, the Venerable Corpse Crane calmed down and even laughed. "Ningyu, without the incantation, you're equivalent to a useless scroll. It's tasteless, but a pity to throw it away." Chapter 993. Leaving None Alive. "You want me to make a heavenly oath to obey you?" Hearing Venerable Corpse Crane's unrealistic words, Ningyu was briefly stunned before he asked, "Have you lost your mind?" "I haven't lost my mind. You're the one who's lost your mind." Venerable Corpse Crane regained his composure and looked calm and collected. "To tell you the truth, that scroll is called the Heart Assimilating Scroll. It's one of the most powerful ancient scrolls. As long as you open it, no one here will be able to escape from being assimilated by it." As he spoke, Venerable Corpse Crane took out a jade bottle from his bosom. There were 3 elixirs in the jade bottle. Shaking the jade bottle, Venerable Corpse Crane continued, "As long as you consume 1 elixir, you won't be affected by the Heart Assimilating Scroll." "You mean?" Ningyu slightly knitted his brows and hesitated. "If I obey you, you'll give me the Heart Assimilating Scroll and the antidote." "That's roughly what I mean." Venerable Corpse Crane shrugged and continued, "After all, your strength and talent are pretty good. I will plead for you with the higher-ups of the Corpse Sect to give you a chance to join the Corpse Sect." "Sigh, looks like you're hopeless." Ningyu sighed as he turned to Earthshaker and said, "There's no point in keeping such a person alive. Kill him." "Okay." Earthshaker's figure flickered as he charged towards Venerable Corpse Crane at a shocking speed. "Ha ha ha. Ningyu, you've been tricked." Seeing Earthshaker charging towards him, Venerable Corpse Crane wasn't worried at all. On the contrary, he laughed out loud. Crack! In the next moment, Venerable Corpse Crane crushed the jade pendant and tossed the 3 elixirs into his mouth. As the 3 elixirs entered his stomach, Venerable Corpse Crane's aura rose from grade 4 to grade 6. "Ningyu, I made a lot of preparations for this trip to the Beast King Palace. The Heart Assimilating Scroll is only one of my trump cards. You want to kill me? How can it be that easy?" As the word "e" fell, Venerable Corpse Crane's body gradually became illusory. "Ningyu, be careful." Earthshaker hurriedly reminded when he saw the Venerable Corpse Crane disappear. I know. Ningyu had already guessed that the Venerable Corpse Crane would do this. He had already secretly contacted the Sword of Evil and asked the Sword of Evil to deal with the Venerable Corpse Crane. Originally, the Sword of Evil didn't want to help Ningyu. After all, he didn't have a physical body and would lose energy every time he fought. The more intense the battle, the weaker his strength would be. Once he reached his limit, he wouldn't even be able to contend against an ordinary Supreme Being. However, Ningyu's offer this time was something he couldn't refuse. 3 times. As long as he helped Ningyu 3 times, Ningyu would agree to help him find a suitable host. If you're not satisfied, you can change until you're satisfied. Remember what you said. The Sword of Evil definitely wouldn't refuse an irresistible offer. He held the Emperor low-grade flying sword in his hand and rushed out in an instant. What? The Venerable Corpse Crane knew that there was a powerful, mysterious person with Ningyu, but he didn't expect this mysterious person to be so powerful. With the Emperor low-grade flying sword in his hand, the aura around him wasn't any weaker than his. Friend, let's make a deal. The venerable corpse crane wanted to tempt the sword of evil again. However, the sword of evil was a sly old fox. How could he be tricked? Before the venerable corpse crane could finish speaking, the sword of evil's emperor low-grade flying sword pierced his chest. Fortunately, the venerable corpse crane reacted in time. Otherwise, the sword of evil's sword would be enough to take his life. Do you really think I'm a pushover? The venerable corpse crane said fiercely. Your strength is at most a little higher than mine. I don't believe you can kill me. After the rage subsided, the venerable corpse crane and the sword of evil began to fight. The sword of evil is hiding something. If he goes all out, he can definitely kill the venerable corpse crane in an instant. Ningyu frowned slightly and murmured. Ningyu had been keeping a wait-and-see attitude towards the sword of evil. If it wasn't for the venerable corpse crane having so many trump cards, Ningyu definitely wouldn't make another deal with the sword of evil. Making a deal with someone who was much stronger than him was like asking a tiger for its skin. It was extremely dangerous. Bang! While Ningyu was still watching, the sword of evil held the emperor low-grade flying sword and pierced the venerable corpse crane's heart. I can't believe it. Seeing the sword of evil kill the venerable corpse crane so quickly, Ningyu was a little dumbfounded and even cursed. Isn't this a little too powerful? No matter what, the venerable corpse crane was a 6th grade human sovereign. Aren't you going to give him some face by killing him just like that? I've made my first move, and I still have 2 more. After killing Exalt Corpse Crane, Exalt Evil Sword transformed into an afterimage that bore into one of the mid-grade king rank flying swords and vanished from sight. Swish! Just as the sword of evil killed the venerable corpse crane, the 8-legged centipede flew over from afar. You killed all of them? Ningyu looked at the 8-legged centipede and asked in confusion. Yes, they're just a few 2nd and 3rd grade human sovereigns. Their mental states aren't a mess, so their strength will naturally drop. The 8-legged centipede replied. So many people. Ningyu turned his head to look at the Vajra goat. He then gritted his teeth and said to the 8-legged centipede, Go store all of them in your interspatial ring. Store them in your interspatial ring. The 8-legged centipede was slightly stunned and couldn't understand why. I have my uses for them. Ningyu smiled and said. The Dark Emperor was still in the interspatial ring, and so was Furball. The Dark Emperor and Furball were both heaven-devouring hounds that could devour heaven, earth, and air. With so many 2nd and 3rd grade human sovereigns, and even 4th, 5th, and 6th grade human sovereigns, how powerful would the Dark Emperor be if he devoured them all? Ningyu didn't dare to think about it. If the Dark Emperor could devour and refine all of the energy, he might even be able to skip the half-step supremacy realm and advance to a 1st grade human sovereign. Moreover, Ningyu suspected that the Dark Emperor could advance to a 2nd grade human sovereign. All right, the 8-legged centipede knew that he shouldn't ask. He stepped on the ground and got to work. Boom! Ningyu also controlled the interspatial ring to emit a terrifying beam of light, storing the cultivators that the 8-legged centipede brought over into the interspatial ring. F***CK. In the interspatial ring, the Dark Emperor was dumbfounded when he saw the cultivators falling from the interspatial ring. Without a doubt, the reason why the Dark Emperor was dumbfounded was because of excitement. He was way too excited. With so many Supremacy Realm cultivators, it would be enough for the Dark Emperor to cultivate for a long time. Ningyu, I love you to death. Actually, the Dark Emperor had been thinking about these Supremacy Realm cultivators that had died in battle. It was just that the danger that Ningyu was facing was too great, so he couldn't let Ningyu store these cultivators into the interspatial ring. Who would have thought that Ningyu would take care of him like this? Which made him extremely excited. Damn it, I don't like dogs. Ningyu transmitted his voice to the Dark Emperor in annoyance. Don't keep devouring these cultivators. You guys have to stabilize the space within the interspatial ring to prevent the interspatial ring from collapsing due to the huge impact swish. Chapter 994. The Battle Platform Chapter 994 Inch Oh No. 8-Legged Centipede. Earthshaker, come back. The suction force was so strong that Ningyu had no time to think and immediately shouted. Swoosh! Swoosh! Earthshaker and eight-legged centipede knew how terrifying the suction force was. Their figures flashed, and they hurriedly flew towards Ningyu. Rumble! However, before Earthshaker and the eight-legged centipede could reach Ningyu, they were pulled by the suction force from the magic treasure cave and fell into it in the blink of an eye. It was not just Earthshaker and eight-legged centipede. Even the Vajra goat, Venerable Mingyang, Shuntian, and Jioding the Venerable, the 4 6th-grade human supremes, could not resist the suction force and were sucked into the cave. Even a 6th-grade human supremacy was sucked into the cave, let alone Ningyu and Venerable Talisman Marshal. Pain. As soon as his body entered the cave, Ningyu felt a strong, tearing force tearing at his body. Ningyu did not want to experience this pain a second time in his life. Bang! The tearing force lasted for about 10 minutes before it suddenly disappeared. The tearing force disappeared, but Ningyu fell heavily to the ground. Hiss! Enduring the intense soreness that came from all over his body, Ningyu climbed up from the ground with difficulty and looked around. Ningyu discovered that he was currently in a spacious area. The surroundings were as empty as the wilderness, and he couldn't see anything. Where is this? Ningyu was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, they should have been sucked into the cave together. Why couldn't he see anyone? Earthshaker, eight-legged centipede, can you hear me? Ningyu used his perception and tried to communicate with Earthshaker and eight-legged centipede. Earthshaker and eight-legged centipede had sworn to obey Ningyu for a year, so Ningyu had some connection with them. However, this connection seemed to have no effect in the cave. Don't waste your energy. Listen to me and head east. At this time, Venerable Sword Evil's voice sounded in Ningyu's ears. Head east? Ningyu frowned. Don't ask. If you want to find Earthshaker and the others, just do as I say. The evil sword supremacy didn't seem to want to talk anymore. After saying that, he fell silent. Ningyu had no choice but to follow Venerable Sword Evil's instructions. His figure flickered as he flew toward the east. Head west again. After moving for about 3 minutes, Sword of Evil's words rang in Ningyu's ears again. Since he had decided to trust the Sword of Evil, Ningyu did not ask any more questions. He followed the Sword of Evil's instructions obediently. However, Ningyu paid attention to Sword Evil's supremacy from the beginning to the end. Ningyu felt that the Sword of Evil was hiding something from him, so he had to be careful. He did not want to be foolishly counting the money for someone else when he was sold. Rustle. Ningyu followed the Sword of Evil's instructions and moved left and right in the area. Rumble. Half an hour later, Ningyu stopped. The reason why Ningyu stopped was not because he had arrived at his destination, but because he found a huge battle platform not far away from him. The battle platform was huge and had a radius of several meters. An earth-shattering battle was taking place on the fighting ring. 3 demonic beasts were attacking a young woman with a veil on her head. King Kong Leopard, King Kong Tiger, King Kong Ape. The Sword of Evil suddenly flew out of the King Grade flying sword and landed beside Ningyu. I didn't expect King Kong Leopard and King Kong Tiger to be at the peak of the 6th grade, while King Kong Ape is at the early stage of the 7th grade. The Sword of Evil's expression was slightly solemn. In his knowledge, King Kong Ape should only be at the peak of the 6th grade. Who would have thought that he would advance to the early stage of the 7th grade? This is a little troublesome. The Sword of Evil's eyes turned as he secretly thought of a countermeasure. Swoosh! Swoosh! At this moment, 2 figures approached from afar and gradually appeared in front of Ningyu and the Sword of Evil. Earthshaker and 8-legged centipede. Ningyu. When the Earthshaker and the others saw Ningyu, their faces immediately lit up. To be able to find Ningyu again in this godforsaken place was truly not easy. How did you find this place? Ningyu frowned and asked in confusion. He could only find this place because of the Sword of Evil's help. We have stayed in the Beast King's palace for a long time, so we have some understanding of the situation in the Magic Treasure Cave. Earthshaker said, the 3 demonic beasts on the battle platform are the 3 generals of the Beast King, King Kong Leopard, King Kong Tiger and King Kong Ape. Who was the woman fighting them? Ningyu asked. I don't know the details. I only know that the woman has been in the Beast King's palace since 18 years ago. I heard that she came to the Beast King's palace to look for the Beast King, but I don't know the details. Earthshaker explained. Whoosh! Suddenly, several figures cut through the void and landed beside Ningyu. The Venerable Mingyang, Shuntian, and Jiuding the Venerable. Ningyu, it seems that enemies are bound to meet. Jiuding the Venerable snorted coldly at Ningyu as soon as he appeared. Ningyu could not be bothered with Jiuding the Venerable. There were enemies now, so there was no point in talking. You're courting death. Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, Jiuding the Venerable growled and dashed towards Ningyu in a flash. Don't move. Let me, Jiuding the Venerable. Ningyu waved his hand, gesturing for Earthshaker and eight-legged centipede not to help. Ningyu's senses were strong, so he could naturally tell that Jiuding the Venerable was not at his peak. How could Ningyu let go of such a good opportunity? At his peak, Jiuding the Venerable was a 6th-grade human supreme martial artist. Ningyu was naturally no match for him. Jiuding the Venerable now only had about 70% of his peak strength. 3 lives palm. In the next moment, Ningyu wrapped all the Yuan Qi in a sea of consciousness around his wrist and launched a backhand attack. Child's play. Feeling the violent Yuan Qi fluctuation from Ningyu's wrist, Jiuding the Venerable's heart skipped a beat. But on the surface, he said coldly, I'll show you the 9-Cauldron Divine Pavilion's secret technique. 9-Cauldron Fist. Pa! The fist and palm collided. A huge shockwave spread out from between Ningyu and Jiuding the Venerable, spreading in all directions. Xiao! Xiao! After one move, Ningyu and Jiuding the Venerable retreated. Venerable, at this moment, the young woman on the stage suddenly froze. Bang! It was this 1 second of distraction that gave the diamond ape the chance to land a punch on her chest. The huge force caused the young woman to spit out a mouthful of blood. Get out of my way. The young woman looked up to the sky and shouted, then waved her hands repeatedly. As the young woman waved her hands, a huge vortex suddenly appeared above her head. Chapter 995. Chapter 995. The Beast King not good. Retreat now. The Vajra ape's face drastically changed when he saw the terrifying vortex in the sky. Without any time to think, the Vajra ape's figure flashed and flew out of the battle stage. Rustle! Rustle! Seeing the Vajra ape fly away, the Vajra panther and Vajra tiger did not dare to delay and instantly scattered. Oomph! The young lady coldly snorted as she abruptly pushed her hands forward. Rustle! The terrifying vortex seemed to have eyes as it swept towards the Vajra apes and the rest. Boom! 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 Facing the terrifying vortex, the Vajra apes and the rest were insignificant. 3 cold beams shot out from the vortex and struck the Vajra apes and the rest. Rumble! The Vajra apes and the rest were blown back several feet as the restrictions around the battle stage instantly collapsed. Whoosh! The young woman didn't kill them all. Instead, she stomped on the ground and flew towards Ningyu. Not good. A trace of fear appeared in Ningyu's eyes as he looked at the young woman who was approaching him. Terrifying, this was too terrifying. The Vajra tiger and Vajra panther were both pinnacle grade 6 human sovereigns, while the Vajra ape was a grade 7 human sovereign. If they weren't a match for the young lady, then wouldn't he have no chance of survival against her? The young lady's speed was swift as she arrived beside Ningyu in the blink of an eye. I sense a familiar aura from your body. Come with me. The young woman did not hesitate at all. She left these words in front of Ningyu and flew towards the fighting ring. The young lady's actions left Ningyu a little stunned. What the hell is going on? Ningyu was a little puzzled and even dumbfounded. 8-legged centipede, Earthshaker, wait here. I'll go take a look. Although he was unwilling, under the powerful pressure of the young lady, Ningyu could only obediently follow behind her. Rustle! Before Ningyu could even take a few steps, the young lady suddenly stopped. Everyone else, come with me. After saying that, The young woman tore through the void and instantly returned to the battle platform. This time, it was Jiuding the Venerable and the others who were dumbfounded. When Ning Yu was chosen by the young lady, Jiuding the Venerable and Shuntian were mocking Ning Yu in their hearts. Who would have thought that the wheel of fortune would turn, and it would be their turn this year? They had no choice but to fly to the battle platform. The battle stage wasn't far from them, so it didn't take long for all of them to arrive on the battle stage. Fortunately, the young woman had broken the restrictions around the fighting ring. Otherwise, with the strength of Ning Yu and the others, it would have been impossible to break them, let alone get onto the fighting ring. Beast King. After the young woman brought Ning Yu and the others to the fighting ring, she ignored them and didn't ask any more questions. It's been 18 years, and you still won't come out to see me. The surroundings were still silent. Sigh. The silence lasted for half an hour before it was broken by a soft sigh. Su-yun, why do you have to do this? Buzz. Not long after the soft sigh, the void began to tremble. A man in purple robes appeared out of thin air. F*CKU. Ning Yu almost cursed out loud when he sensed the terrifying aura emanating from the man. 8th grade, Human Supreme. The purple-clothed man's cultivation had reached the 8th grade Human Sovereign realm. Right now, Ning Yu couldn't even fight against a 6th grade Human Sovereign, not to mention an 8th grade Human Sovereign. What's going on? Ning Yu frowned and murmured. For Ning Yu, he had to figure out the current situation. Only by doing so could he think of a way to escape. Hand over the supreme celestial pill, or I'll destroy your palace, Beast King. Su-yun snorted and scolded. You've been hiding from me for 18 years, and now you're finally willing to come out to see me. You think I don't want to come out to see you? The purple-robed man slowly opened his palm. On his palm, there was a pill lying on it. The elixir was white and had a smooth appearance. Supreme Celestial Pill. It's the Supreme Celestial Pill. Ning Yu, you must get it. Everyone was shocked when they saw the white elixir in the man's palm. Especially Reverend Sword Evil. He almost jumped out of his seat. The Supreme Celestial Pill was too important to him. If he could get it, he wouldn't have to go through a period of weakness after the possession. I'll use my feet to help you get it. Ning Yu glared at the Sword of Evil and said in a low voice, the man in purple is an 8th grade Human Supreme, and Su-yun is a peak 7th grade Human Supreme. Are you sure I can get the Supreme Celestial Pill with my strength? This space is very special. The Beast King and that woman can't unleash their full strength. The Sword of Evil wasn't worried at all. In this space, even an Earth Supreme can only unleash the strength of an early 7th grade Human Supreme. Ning Yu's face darkened. It was easy for him to say that. Was an early 7th grade Human Supreme weak? The answer was obviously no. Ning Yu wasn't a match for an early 7th grade Human Supreme, even if he went all out. Moreover, the man in purple had the 4 great Vajras. Ning Yu wasn't confident of winning against any one of them. Middle grade Supreme, Celestial Pill. Seeing the white pill in the man's palm, Su-yun's eyes lit up and she said coldly, give it to me. Su-yun, I can't give you the Supreme Celestial Pill. A middle grade Supreme Celestial Pill won't be able to cure your extreming body. Give me another month and I promise I can refine it to the high grade. The man in purple waved the Supreme Celestial Pill in his hand and said, there's not enough time. Su-yun shook her head and turned to Ning Yu. Let her come out. Ning Yu's face was gloomy. Actually, when the man in purple mentioned the extreming body, Ning Yu had already guessed Su-yun's identity and the reason why Su-yun was so excited to see him. There was no other reason. Because Su-yun sensed that Lu Wei was in the storage ring. Ning Yu was confused. Logically speaking, Lu Wei was suppressed by the mystic Moon Jade Pendant and was in the storage ring. Even if Su-yun was a peak 7th grade Human Supreme, she wouldn't be able to sense it. You're a smart person. You should know what I mean. Su-yun didn't make things difficult for Ning Yu. All right. After a moment of silence, Ning Yu shook his wrist and a beam of light shot out from the storage ring. Whoosh! Lu Wei landed beside Ning Yu. Ning Yu, where is this? Why did you ask me to come out? As soon as Lu Swan showed up, he looked around in confusion and asked, this is the Beast King Palace. Don't worry, Nothing will happen with me here. Ningyu smiled at Lu Wei and said, "Ha ha, you can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by chance." At this moment, a burst of laughter came from the void. Chapter 996. Swoosh, swoosh. A total of 3 figures descended from the void. 2 young martial artists and 1 old man. The old man's cultivation was extremely high, comparable to Beast King's. They were both grade 8 human supreme martial artists. The 2 young martial artists' cultivation didn't match their age. Grade 5 human supreme martial artists. At such a young age, their cultivation had already reached grade 5 human supreme martial artist. One could only imagine how high their cultivation would soar if they were given a few more decades to cultivate. Venerable Yang. After these 3 martial artists came out, they immediately attracted revered Ming Yang's attention. That's right, all 3 martial artists were from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Venerable Yang glanced at Venerable Ming Yang and said in a clear voice, "I came to the Great Xia Kingdom for 2 things. There are 2 main reasons why I'm heading to the Great Xia Kingdom. Firstly, it's to obtain the Supreme Immortal Pill. Of course, I'm about to get it. The second matter." When he spoke to this point, Yang Zun paused for a moment before his gaze descended onto Ningyu. He said, "It's to find this bastard." Mu Yinshan was originally engaged to the Palace Master of Emperor Palace, but she broke off the engagement and gave birth to a little bastard like you, causing a strained relationship between the Supreme 9 Purities Temple and Emperor Palace. In order to ease the relationship between the Supreme 9 Purities Temple and Emperor Palace, the only way is to find the old bastard and kill the little bastard. Only then can the Palace Master of Emperor Palace's hatred be appeased. Venerable Yang said, "I've been investigating in the Great Xia Kingdom for a long time and finally confirmed that Ning Hai is the old bastard. If it wasn't for the Supreme Immortal Elixir, I would have gone to the Great Xia Kingdom to kill you. Why would I let those trash from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple go to the Great Xia Kingdom to find you?" Ningyu's face darkened when he heard Venerable Yang's words. It was fine if Venerable Yang insulted him, but he couldn't take it when he insulted his parents in this life. However, Ningyu was not a reckless person. He knew that if he made a move now, only death would await him. He had to endure, endure, and endure. What? You're not convinced? When Venerable Yang saw Ningyu's expression, the corners of his mouth curled up. He waved his hand and said, "Wang Lin, go and teach this kid a lesson. Let him know that reincarnating into the wrong body is also a huge mistake. Let's see who dares." Su Yin unleashed her aura and pressed down on Wang Lin. Wang Lin was only a 5th grade human supreme martial artist. How could he withstand the pressure of Su Yun's aura? Pucci, spurting out a mouthful of blood, Wang Lin's legs bent slightly, as if he was going to kneel down. Oomph. Venerable Yang snorted and unleashed the aura of an 8th grade human supreme martial artist as well, colliding with Su Yun's aura. Swoosh! 2 powerful auras collided. Su Yun and Venerable Yang each took a few steps back. She indeed has the extreme body. She can fight me head-on at the 7th grade human supreme martial artist realm. Venerable Yang's face darkened as he said in a deep voice. Even though Venerable Yang was an 8th grade human supreme martial artist, Su Yun had the extreme body. Her strength could not be described in terms of rank. Moreover, there were restrictions in the magic treasure cave. No matter how high one's cultivation was, one could only display the strength of an early 7th grade human supreme martial artist. Anyone whose attack power exceeded that of an early 7th grade human supreme martial artist would be sucked into the void. Rumble. Just as Su Yun and Venerable Yang were about to continue fighting, a loud rumble came from a void. Then, another 3 figures landed on the battle platform. Ha ha ha! I came to the Great Xia Kingdom for an extreme body. Who would have thought that I would see 2 of them here? Among the 3 figures, an old man in a black robe laughed maniacally. If I can bring these 2 extreme bodies back to the Divine Heaven sect, The sect master will probably bless me personally and let me advance to the Earth's supreme martial artist realm. That's just wishful thinking. Suyin said coldly. You're only an early 8th grade human supreme martial artist. You want to bring us to the divine heaven sect with just an early 8th grade human supreme martial artist and 2 6th grade human supreme martial artists? Don't forget, there's still us. Venerable Yang took a step forward and said sinisterly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't mind joining forces with my friends from the divine heaven sect. You, hearing Venerable Yang's words and seeing Venerable Yang's actions, Su Yun's face turned ashen. Her heart sank to the bottom. Although she had an extreme body and was strong in battle, there was no way she could go against 2 8th grade human supreme martial artists. Although the space in the Magic Treasure Cave only allowed one to unleash the battle power of an early 7th grade human supreme martial artist, anyone with rich battle experience could fight one against many. This is the Magic Treasure Cave of the Beast King Palace. Did you get my permission before you made your move? The Beast King's face was also very ugly. This was originally his territory. When did the people from the Divine Heaven sect and the Supreme Nine Purities Temple sneak in? He had no idea. Speaking of which, there was nothing he could do. For the past 18 years, he had been refining Supreme Immortal Pills and had no time to care about other things. Otherwise, with him personally overseeing the Beast King Palace, how could an 8th grade human supreme martial artist sneak in without anyone noticing? The Beast King Palace is such a lousy place. We can come and go as we please. Venerable Yang curled his lips and said, Venerable Wind, I'll deal with the Beast King, and you deal with Su Yun. How about that? No problem, we each get what we need. Venerable Wind nodded, then immediately rose from the ground and rushed towards the Beast King. Venerable Yang followed closely behind and rushed towards Su Yun. Actually, Venerable Wind, the Beast King, Venerable Yang, and Su Yun were all about the same level of strength. The reason why Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang attacked was because they wanted to hold back the Beast King and Su Yun. The rest of the matters would be handled by the people they brought. The 2 cultivators that Venerable Yang brought were Wang Lin and Wu Jun. Wang Lin and Wu Jun were both 5th grade human supreme martial artists. Their strength was even stronger than the 6th grade human supreme martial artist, Venerable Ming Yang. As for the 2 cultivators that Venerable Wind brought, they were called Luo Song and Shun Gu. Both of them were 6th grade human supreme martial artists and were even stronger than Wang Lin and Wu Jun. My God! My God! Seeing the 4 powerful cultivators rushing towards him, Ning Yu's expression changed, and he couldn't help but curse. Lu Wei, hurry up and enter the storage ring. Although he was very nervous, Ning Yu looked calm on the surface. He instructed, Sword of Evil, I'll leave the 2 cultivators from the Divine Heaven sect to you for now. 8-legged centipede, Earthshaker, you 2 work together to deal with the cultivator on the left. Leave the remaining 5th grade human supreme martial artist to me. Ning Yu was very clear in his recuperation. Given the current situation, this was the only way to relieve the pressure. Ning Yu, have you forgotten about us? Just as Ning Yu gave his instructions, Venerable Ming Yang said coldly, Me, Shuntan, and Juding the Venerable. Who will deal with the 3 of us? Oh no! Ning Yu's heart instantly sank to the bottom. After all this time, he still missed 3 powerful 6th grade human supreme martial artists. Chapter 997. Battle O'Right. Suddenly, Ning Yu seemed to have thought of something, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. When he obtained the Heaven-Earth Sword formation, Ning Yu had obtained 4 stones from the Sword of Evil. Although every stone could only unleash a full-powered attack from a pinnacle 5th grade sovereign, it could still bring about an unexpected effect if it was a good sneak attack. Venerable Ming Yang, you guys go to the side and wait. I can deal with this half-step supreme realm martial artist by myself. You guys don't have to do anything. Wang Lin obviously did not want Venerable Ming Yang and the rest to intervene. After all, Ning Yu is only a half-step supremacy, while he was a 5th grade human supremacy. Furthermore, He was an existence that surpassed the core disciples of the supreme Nine Purities Temple. If he needed help to deal with a martial artist who was half a step into the supremacy realm, how was he going to establish himself in the supreme Nine Purities Temple in the future? How was he supposed to survive in the heavenly demon region? All right, since Wang Lin didn't want him to fight, Venerable Ming Yang was happy to be idle. After all, in his opinion, Ningyu would never be a match for Wang Lin no matter how cunning he was. Don't underestimate Wang Lin just because he was a 5th-grade human sovereign. His overall strength was far beyond Wang Lin's reach. A good chance. Wang Lin's arrogance gave Ningyu a chance. Ningyu turned to look at the battle between the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker. He felt slightly relieved. Wu Jun did not want to kill Earthshaker. Every time he attacked, he did not use his full strength. It seemed that Wu Jun wanted to subdue the Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede. After all, being able to tame a 6th-grade human supreme martial artist Earthshaker as a mount was something to be proud of. As for the Sword of Evil wasn't at a disadvantage in the slightest. In fact, Sword Evil Reverend seemed to have the upper hand. Once the Sword of Evil finds a body to possess, his strength will be comparable to the Beast King and the others. Ningyu murmured, "Brat, I'll give you a chance now. Surrender, or else I'll let you know why flowers are so red." Wang Lin crossed his arms in front of his chest and said indifferently, "You want me to surrender? Have you lost your mind?" Ningyu was slightly stunned and said, "You're only a 5th-grade mortal supreme martial artist, yet you want me to surrender without putting up a fight? This is simply King ridiculous." However, before Ningyu could finish his words, he couldn't help but curse. This was because Wang Lin did not play by the rules. Swoosh! Wang Lin's figure flashed, and he charged toward him at an astonishing speed. Bang! At the critical moment, Ningyu clenched his right fist and punched with a violent Yuan Qi gale, colliding with Wang Lin's fist. When the two fists collided, Ningyu was sent flying several feet away. Feeling the soreness in his fist, Ningyu's expression turned ugly. Wang Lin's strength was stronger than his, a lot stronger. I need to advance to 1st-grade mortal supreme martial artist to be able to fight against Wang Lin. The difference in cultivation between Ningyu and Wang Lin was too great. It was already fortunate that he wasn't killed in one move. I have to think of something. I can't just sit here and wait for death. Ningyu's expression was gloomy as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. Suddenly, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat and he hurriedly said, "Wang Lin, I know you want to capture me. But before that, I have a request." "What is it?" Wang Lin originally wanted to capture Ningyu, but after hearing Ningyu's words, he hesitated and asked, "I'm no match for you anyway. As long as you don't cripple my cultivation, I'm willing to give you royal-grade yuan crystals." As he spoke, Ningyu took out a storage bag and said, "There are 10,000 royal-grade yuan crystals in here. If you don't cripple my cultivation, I'll give them all to you." "You don't have any choice," Wang Lin said indifferently. "After I capture you, everything on you will be mine. Why should I waste my breath on you?" "Is that so?" The corner of Ningyu's lips curled up. He then took out a royal-grade yuan crystal and crushed it with a slight force from his wrist. "Clap, clap." Clapping his hands, Ningyu said, "As long as I'm willing, I can destroy all the royal-grade yuan crystals in here at any time. No one will be able to get them." "You're threatening me," Wang Lin said coldly. Ningyu waved his hand and said, "I'm not threatening you. I just want to make a deal with you." Ningyu knew that 10,000 royal-grade yuan crystals couldn't move Wang Lin, so he took out 7 king-grade mid-grade flying swords and made them float in the air. Pointing at the 7 king-grade mid-grade flying swords in the air, Ningyu continued, "These 7 king-grade mid-grade flying swords will form a sword formation, the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. The power of the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation is extremely powerful. With this sword formation, I can kill a 4th-grade human sovereign with a cultivation of half-step sovereign realm." "Are you serious?" Wang Lin's expression finally changed. If what Ningyu had said was true, then if he could obtain the sword array and successfully cultivate it, he would even be able to confront a 7th-grade sovereign realm. Really? If you don't believe me, you can ask Venerable Mingyang. He has the most say. Ningyu nodded. Venerable Mingyang, is what Ningyu said true? Wang Lin turned around and asked Venerable Mingyang. Perhaps it should be true. Venerable Mingyang said, I didn't observe carefully when Ningyu used the sword formation, but I know that Ningyu is indeed strong enough to kill a 4th-grade human sovereign. Aside from the 10,000 royal-grade origin crystals and the heaven and earth sword formation, I still have 4 stones. Seeing that Wang Lin was a little moved, Ningyu took out the 4 stones with the words heaven, earth, sword, and formation carved on them and said, although each of these 4 stones can only unleash the full power of a 5th-grade human sovereign, it's better than nothing for you, right? All right, Wang Lin said in a low voice. Don't worry, I have something even better. Ningyu interrupted Wang Lin and said, royal-grade flying sword. Swoosh! With a thought, Ningyu took out the red demon sword. What? Looking at the blood-red flying sword in the air and the terrifying aura it emitted, Wang Lin's expression changed drastically. In order to attract Wang Lin's attention, Ningyu told the Dark Emperor to unleash the red demon sword's current aura without holding back. After all, success or failure depended on this move. I'm not too sure about the specific rank of this flying sword. I only know that it's not an ordinary royal-grade flying sword, and its rank should be comparable to a middle-grade royal-grade flying sword. Ningyu explained, you're now a 5th-grade human sovereign. If you can obtain 10,000 royal-grade origin crystals, the heaven and earth sword formation, and this red demon sword, I believe your strength will be comparable to Venerable Win's. Don't try to be glib with me. Throw them over one by one, and we'll talk about it after I'm done checking. Wang Lin said coldly. As the saying went, the skilled were bold. Chapter 998. Wang Lin, here are the stones. Ningyu was very sensible. He flicked his wrist and threw 4 stones at Wang Lin. Stop! Wang Lin would not foolishly catch the stones with his hands. He pointed his palm in the air. In an instant, the 4 stones stopped in front of him. Swoosh! In the next moment, Wang Lin split a part of his perception and secretly checked the 4 stones. Wang Lin checked very carefully and did not miss any area of the stones. While Wang Lin was checking the stones, Ningyu secretly communicated with the Red Fiend. Red Fiend, how confident are you that you can injure Wang Lin later? The Red Fiend's sword was very powerful, but the Red Fiend's cultivation was a little low. Ningyu thought that if the Red Fiend's confidence was not very high, then he would give up on this plan. The 4 stones could only unleash the full power of a peak grade 5 human supreme. It was not a big deal to give them up. It's impossible to kill Wang Lin, but I have an 80% chance of injuring him. The Red Fiend answered. All right, the most important thing now is to kill Wang Lin. As long as we can kill Wang Lin, we will definitely be able to intimidate Venerable Mingyang and the others. When that time comes, we will have time to rest, Ningyu said in a low voice. The stones are fine. Throw the rest over too. At this moment, Wang Lin had already checked the 4 stones and put them into a storage bag. Don't worry, I said I would give them to you, so I will definitely give them to you. Ningyu grabbed the storage bag and threw it to Wang Lin. There were more than 10,000 royal-grade origin crystals in the storage bag. Ningyu threw them all to Wang Lin. This was a big sacrifice. However, in order to severely injure Wang Lin later, everything was worth it. Stop. The same actions, the same measures. Wang Lin used the same method to check the bag of holding. Then he moved the more than 10,000 royal-grade origin crystals into his own bag of holding. As for Ningyu's bag of holding, he threw it to the side. Go! Wang Lin had just received the royal-grade origin crystals when Ningyu controlled the 7 mid-grade king rank flying swords to slowly fly towards Wang Lin. At the same time, Ningyu also told Wang Lin the method to practice the sword formation of heaven and earth. When he heard the incantation and saw the 7 mid-grade king rank flying swords flying towards him, Wang Lin felt that something was wrong. I don't believe that Ningyu can overturn the heavens. Wang Lin shook his head and carefully checked the mid-grade king rank flying swords. After a while, Wang Lin collected his thoughts and said to Venerable Mingyang, "Come over and try to practice the sword formation of heaven and earth. I want to see if there's any problem with the sword formation of heaven and earth that Ningyu gave me." "I'm not going to do it." Venerable Mingyang's face was very ugly. He was furious with what Wang Lin had done. "You're afraid that Ningyu has tampered with the sword formation of heaven and earth, but am I not?" However, Venerable Mingyang's status in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and his own strength were not as good as Wang Lin. He could only choose to swallow his anger and walk towards Wang Lin step by step. The journey that should have taken more than 10 seconds was forcibly completed by Venerable Mingyang in 2 minutes. "Stop dilly-dallying. Remember the incantation and practice quickly." Wang Lin told Venerable Mingyang part of the incantation that Ningyu had told him. Venerable Mingyang also began to practice obediently. After about 10 minutes, seeing that Venerable Mingyang did not have any discomfort, Wang Lin waved his hand and said, "Stop. Go to the cool side and stay there. I don't need you here." "Okay." Venerable Mingyang dared not say anything even though he was angry. Reality was like this. If one's status was not as high or as strong as others, one could only swallow one's anger. "Give me the stone, the sword formation, and the royal grade origin crystal. You only have the royal grade flying sword left." Wang Lin looked at Ningyu and said faintly, "Don't worry. Since I said I'll give you the royal grade flying sword, I'll definitely give it to you." Ningyu smiled and threw the red demon sword to Wang Lin. Swoosh, swoosh. The red demon sword drew a beautiful arc in the air and quickly arrived in front of Wang Lin. Although Wang Lin relaxed a little, he still did not grab the red demon sword with his hands. Instead, he separated a wisp of his perception into the red demon sword and carefully examined it. The red demon sword was the spiritual body of the red demon sword. He was hidden in the red demon sword, so Wang Lin naturally could not discover him. "Wang Lin, you've obtained everything. You won't cripple my cultivation, will you?" Ningyu was worried that Wang Lin would find something wrong with his examination, so he hurriedly said, "I've even given you the red demon sword. If you want to cripple my cultivation, it won't be right." "Don't worry. I, Wang Lin, am a man of my word. I definitely won't cripple your cultivation." Wang Lin completely dispelled his worries. He grabbed the red demon sword and twirled it in the air a few times before saying, "Venerable Mingyang." "Yes." Venerable Mingyang replied, "I can't cripple Ningyu's cultivation, but it's fine with you. Go, cripple Ningyu's cultivation." Wang Lin held the red demon sword and pointed it at Ningyu. "How dare you go back on your word?" Ningyu's expression was extremely cold. "I've given you all the good stuff, but you actually let Venerable Mingyang attack me. Ha! Didn't that be *TCH Mu Yun Shan tell you that you can't trust the words of strangers?" Wang Lin said sinisterly, "I originally planned to break the tendons in your limbs, but since you've given me so many good things, I've decided to only cripple your cultivation." "Venerable Mingyang, what are you waiting for?" Wang Lin said coldly when he saw Venerable Mingyang standing still. "I'll do it now." Venerable Mingyang stomped his feet on the ground and charged forward. Looking at Venerable Mingyang charging forward, Wang Lin's lips curled up. "You can't have given me so many things for no reason. There must be a trick," he muttered. Wang Lin was very smart. Although he appeared to be completely relaxed on the surface, he was very cautious on the inside. His aura was locked on the red demon sword to prevent Ningyu from leaving any tricks in the red demon sword. Now that Venerable Mingyang and Ningyu were fighting, it was a good opportunity for him. He paid attention to Ningyu's reaction and the red demon sword at the same time. Triple birth palm. The red demon sword and the heaven and earth sword formation were both in Wang Lin's hands. Ningyu could only summon the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness and wrap it around his palm. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 palm prints flew toward Venerable Mingyang from 3 different directions. A piece of cake. Facing the 3 terrifying palm prints, Venerable Mingyang did not take them seriously. He fanned out 3 even more terrifying palm prints, which collided with the triple birth palm. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The palm prints collided and both dissipated in the air. On the other hand, Venerable Mingyang had already arrived in front of Ningyu and punched at Ningyu's chest. Bang! A crisp sound was heard. The huge force from his chest caused Ningyu's body to fly several feet away. Ningyu only stopped when he fell to the edge of the fighting ring. Chapter 999. Success. So it's just a wax spear. Impressive, but useless. Seeing Ningyu spitting blood from Venerable Mingyang's attack, Wang Lin revealed a disdainful expression. Initially, Wang Lin was worried that Ningyu might have some tricks up his sleeves. He might have done something to the red demon sword. But now, he had completely dispelled this concern. For a weak martial artist like Ningyu, even if he had done something, what could he do to him? Could it be that a martial artist who was half a step into the supremacy realm could think of a way to injure him? Serve him well. Just don't kill him. Wang Lin said to Venerable Mingyang, bring him back. We can still get a lot of benefits from the Supreme Elder. Understood. Venerable Mingyang knew that Ningyu was someone many Supreme Elders were looking for. Using Ningyu you could exchange for a lot of resources. While Wang Lin and the others ate the meat, he should be able to get some soup. Bang! Bang! At this moment, 2 sounds rang out on the other side of the battlefield. Then, the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker fell to the ground beside Ningyu like kites with their strings cut. Wu Jun's strength was not inferior to Wang Lin's. If the Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede fought him, they would not stand a chance. Ha ha! I'm dying of laughter. Seeing that the Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede were defeated, Wang Lin held the red demon sword in his hand and leaped to Ningyu's side. He laughed and said, as expected of fellow sufferers, even the place where you landed is the same. Then, Wang Lin said to Wu Jun, your strength has deteriorated. You can't even kill these 2 small fries. Humph, aren't you the same? Ningyu is only half a step into the honorable realm, yet you still need Venerable Mingyang's help. Hearing Wang Lin's sarcasm, Wu Jun said coldly, you're really shameless. You have the nerve to talk about me. You're wrong. It's not that I can't kill Ningyu. I'm just giving Venerable Mingyang a chance. Wang Lin shook his head and said, besides, there are reasons why I didn't kill Ningyu. Firstly, he's the person the Supreme Elder is looking for. I'm afraid I'll be too strong and kill him in one move. Second, I obtained a monarch rank flying sword from him. As he spoke, Wang Lin waved the red demon sword in front of Wu Jun. Isn't it just a monarch rank flying sword? What's so great about it? Wu Jun spoke coldly. Isn't it just a monarch rank flying sword? If you're not convinced, we can spar. Wang Lin said sinisterly. Let's spar then. Who's afraid of who? With a low shout, Wu Jun's figure flashed forward and he punched at Wang Lin. Ha ha, Wu Jun, take out that monarch rank flying sword of yours. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand even one attack from me. Wang Lin laughed loudly. As you wish. In midair, Wu Jun stopped abruptly. With a flick of his wrist, a white flying sword appeared in his hand. Wang Lin let out a hysterical roar. Red Devil, come back. Ningyu did not care how Wang Lin screamed. Wang Lin was an arrow at the end of its flight. He would die in 1 or 2 minutes at most. Wang Lin's heart was pierced, and he had to withstand the power of the 4 stones. Heaven and earth would not tolerate it if he did not die. Just as Ningyu expected, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of blood after holding on for 2 minutes, and his body fell backward. At this moment, the peerless genius of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple, Wang Lin, who was a 5th-grade human supreme, died on the spot. Swoosh! Just as Wang Lin died, the Red Devil Sword came to Ningyu's side. Holding the Red Devil Sword, Ningyu's gaze swept across Venerable Mingyang and Wu Jun. He said in a low voice, "Are you guys here to cripple my cultivation too?" Sha. After hearing Ningyu's words, Venerable Mingyang could not help but take a few steps back. Even someone as strong as Wang Lin was killed by Ningyu's scheme. Venerable Mingyang could imagine that if he were to attack Ningyu, he would definitely end up worse than Wang Lin. The son of that be asterisk TCH, Mu Yunshan, is indeed capable. Wu Jun's face was gloomy. Wang Lin was killed because he was careless. In fact, your true battle strength should be between a 4th grade and a 5th grade human supreme. As long as we don't let our guard down, you won't stand a chance. I won't say anything unnecessary. If you're not convinced, you can come and try. Chapter 1000. Being deceived. This is infuriating. Seeing how Ningyu ignored him and did whatever he wanted, Wu Jun gritted his teeth in anger. However, Wu Jun did not dare to attack Ningyu. After all, Wang Lin's tragic state was still fresh in his mind. Under the premise that both sides did not use Dharma treasures, Wu Jun and Wang Lin's combat power was not much different. No matter what, Wang Lin was killed by Ningyu's scheme. At this time, Wu Jun had to be very careful. It was better to be safe than sorry. What if the boat capsized in the gutter? Wouldn't it be a huge loss? Honorable Wu Jun, should we? Venerable Mingyang was furious as well. Ningyu was only a half-step to the honorable realm martial artist, but he played them like a fiddle. This was too much. Bullsh asterisk T. Wu Jun glared at Venerable Mingyang and said, "Didn't you hear what this kid said? If you're not afraid of death, you can try." Cowardly as a mouse. A mere half-step to the honorable realm martial artist can scare you. You've been cultivating like a pig all these years. How embarrassing. At the side, Juding the Venerable and Shuntian mumbled to themselves. Actually, Juding the Venerable had always wanted to kill Ningyu. However, it was not appropriate for him to do so in this situation. Otherwise, he would have taught Ningyu a lesson long ago. What are you guys mumbling over there? If you're not convinced, you can go and test Ningyu. Wu Jun's senses were very strong, and his ears were very sharp. Juding the Venerable and Shuntian's mumbling did not escape his hearing system. With a low growl, Wu Jun said, "I order you to go and capture Ningyu, especially the martial artist on the left. I can see that your expression is the most disdainful. You go first." The martial artist Wu Jun was looking at was none other than Juding the Venerable. Juding the Venerable and Ning, you had a huge grudge against each other, so he was naturally the most disdainful. "Fine, I'll do it. Who's afraid of who?" Juding the Venerable had a bad temper. Although he had not recovered to his peak condition and only had 70% of his peak strength, he believed that Ningyu was no match for him. Just as he had said earlier, how strong could a mere half-step Supreme Being realm cultivator be? Could he overturn the heavens? At this time, Ningyu had already arrived beside Wang Lin. Ningyu first removed the storage bag filled with royal-grade origin crystals from Wang Lin's body, then kept the 7-king grade middle-grade flying swords. After some thought, Ningyu started searching Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin was a peak grade 5 supreme martial artist and a peerless genius of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. It was impossible that he did not have any good treasures on him. As the saying goes, treasures belong to the virtuous. Since Wang Lin was dead, there was no use in keeping the treasures on him. It was better to leave them for the survivors. "Ningyu, I'll take your life now." However, just as Ningyu was searching Wang Lin's body, Juding the Venerable shouted and rushed towards him before he could find any treasures. "Earthshaker, how much combat strength do you have left?" Ningyu had already expected Juding the Venerable to make a move. He pretended not to see it, as he quickly communicated with Earthshaker. 50%. Earthshaker said in a low voice, "Wu Jun is really too strong. If he did not want to subdue me and the 8-legged centipede, we would have died a long time ago. Don't bother with those useless things. Try to help me block Juding the Venerable for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I'll personally make a move." Ningyu interrupted Earthshaker and said, "Understood." Earthshaker gritted his teeth and immediately leaped towards Juding the Venerable. "Stupid cow, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." In the core hall, Juding the Venerable had already started fighting with Earthshaker. At that time, Juding the Venerable was weaker than Earthshaker and had almost been killed. Now that he was in the treasure cave, Juding the Venerable still had 70% of his combat strength. According to Juding the Venerable's observation, Earthshaker only had about 50% of his combat strength left. Under such circumstances, how could Earthshaker fight him? Juding the Venerable was very excited. Finally, he had a chance to kill Earthshaker. In his mind, killing Earthshaker first, then killing Ningyu. Everything was perfect. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. Rumble. Although Earthshaker's strength was only 50% of his peak, in the first exchange, Earthshaker still had the upper hand. Damn it! Cursing, Juding the Venerable gathered all the primordial chi in his body on his wrist and threw a backhand punch at Earthshaker's head. Juding the Venerable's punch was powerful and heavy. It could be said that it was the most powerful move he could perform at his current stage. If Earthshaker was unlucky enough to be hit, he would probably end up in a miserable state. Roar! Looking at Juding the Venerable who was approaching him and the pulsating primordial chi on Juding the Venerable's fist, Earthshaker roared at the sky. TSK, TSK. A huge shockwave spread in all directions, trying its best to stop Juding the Venerable from moving forward. Earthshaker is a strong opponent. If Juding the Venerable dies this time, I must be very careful. Seeing Juding the Venerable and Earthshaker's fierce battle, Shintian thought to himself. When they were in the core hall, Shintian's strength could be ranked among the top. However, when he arrived at the magic treasure cave, Shintian sadly realized that he could only bully the eight-legged centipede in Ningyu. He might not even be able to defeat Ningyu. After all, Ningyu was the one who killed Wang Lin. Shintian was different from Juding the Venerable. He was calm and careful when he did things. I really don't know how a rash person like the Nine Cauldron Venerable Lord managed to become. What? Heaven God, Supremacy muttered as he looked at the Nine Cauldron Venerable Lord, who was at a disadvantage. However, before Shintian could finish his sentence, he opened his mouth in shock. There was a huge change in the battlefield in front of him. Juding the Venerable's fist, which contained violent vitality, suddenly changed direction when it was about to reach Earthshaker and hit Ningyu. Die! Juding the Venerable had planned this all along. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. As long as he could kill Ningyu by surprise, Earthshaker would not be able to cause too much trouble. I knew you would do this. Ningyu's lips curled up into a smile. He held the red demon sword in his hand and charged forward. Kill! With a low growl, Ningyu slashed out a shocking sword gleam. The sword gleam was as thick as a person's waist and was very powerful. Oh no! As powerful as the Venerable One was, he could not help but be taken aback when he sensed the horrifying fluctuation of vitality contained in the sword light. Bang! It was Juding the Venerable's momentary daze that caused him to fall into an irrecoverable situation. Earthshaker seized the opportunity and hit Juding the Venerable's chest. The tremendous force that came from his chest sent the Nine Cauldron Venerable flying several meters away before he fell to the ground in a straight line. Whoosh! Juding the Venerable retreated, but Ningyu's sword gleam did not hold back. Chapter 1001. Consecutive Stupidity. Crash! The sword light streaked across Juding the Venerable's neck. Suddenly, a column of blood sprayed out. Ningyu, after the column of blood sprayed out, Juding the Venerable did not immediately die. Instead, he pointed a finger at Ningyu, his face filled with malice. You will die a horrible death. After using all the strength in his body to say these words, Juding the Venerable's head tilted and his body fell to the ground. At this moment, the Nine Cauldron Divine Pavilion's Pavilion Master, Juding the Venerable, died on the spot. Bang! Juding the Venerable's death caused Venerable Mingyang and the others to have ugly expressions, especially Wu Jun. At this time, his face was gloomy to the extreme. Originally, he thought that the reason Ningyu could kill Wang Lin was because Wang Lin was too careless. It had nothing to do with Ningyu's strength. But now, it seemed that he was wrong. Very, very wrong. Ningyu was a sinister and cunning person. Not only was he adept at using schemes, but he was also very strong. Wang Lin's death was not an accident. It was inevitable. Thinking of this, Wu Jun felt a lingering fear. He was glad that the person who fought with Ningyu at the start wasn't him. Otherwise, one of the two corpses on the ground would definitely be his. After Jioding the Venerable was killed, Ningyu began to search through Jioding the Venerable's body as if there was no one else around. Jioding the Venerable was the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's pavilion master. He definitely had many treasures and pills on him. After searching for a while, Ningyu found a few storage pouches, and the amount of royal-grade origin crystals in each storage pouch was around 1,000 pieces. You still dare to say that you don't have any royal-grade essence crystals? Only you can say that. Ningyu pursed his lips, expressing his disdain for Jioding the Venerable. In the core hall, Jioding the Venerable had clearly said that he could not even take out a few thousand royal-grade origin crystals. If Jioding the Venerable knew what Ningyu was thinking at that moment, he would probably wake up from his anger. These royal-grade essence crystals belong to special royal-grade essence crystals. In theory, they should be semi-finished products. The essence energy contained within a piece of royal-grade origin crystal was merely around half of a normal royal-grade origin crystal, or even less. If he had taken out these royal-grade origin crystals at that time, wouldn't he have lost a lot of face? Kaka. Wu Jun clenched his fists tightly when he saw Ningyu plundering Jioding the Venerable's belongings as if there was no one else around. However, Wu Jun knew that he couldn't make a move now. It was better to be safe than sorry. Many people who capsized were not because their strength was weak, but because they were not cautious enough. Wang Lin, Jioding the Venerable, which one of them was a pinnacle powerhouse? If it were in the past, who could have imagined that powerhouses like them would be killed by a half-step supreme realm martial artist? But the reality was that it happened. There were powerhouses being killed again and again. It caused Wu Jun's confidence to suffer a setback. He did not even dare to make a move against Ningyu. Venerable Mingyang. Wu Jun was not the kind of person to resign himself to death. He knew that if he let Ningyu continue to recuperate, who knows what Ningyu might still come up with. At this time, he must find someone to continuously make a move against Ningyu. No matter how useless, he must also exhaust Ningyu's life force. Oh no. Venerable Mingyang's heart skipped a beat. He knew that things were not going well. Everyone knew that Ningyu was like a porcupine now. He could not be provoked. Wu Jun must not have any good intentions by calling him at this time. Who knows, he might be asking him to make a move against Ningyu. Go and test Ningyu. Don't aim to kill him, just test his true combat strength. As expected, what he wanted came true. Venerable Mingyang sighed his heart and said, Venerable Wu Jun, I'm just a small 6th grade human supreme realm. My strength is far from yours. I'm afraid, if you're always afraid of this and that, how can you achieve great things in the future? Wu Jun snorted coldly. Attack together with the 6th grade human supreme realm martial artist. I don't believe that you 2 6th grade human supreme realm martial artists are no match for a half-step supreme realm martial artist. Who said that there's only one half-step supreme realm martial artist? Ningyu, are you blind? Can't you see that there's also a 6th grade human supreme realm martial artist? Earthshaker? Reverend Mingyang's expression was ugly to the extreme. For Wu Jun to do such a thing, it was clear that he had something against him. I'm from the Blood God Palace, and you're from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Why do you have to order me around? Shen Tian was upright and outspoken. He was not moved at all. Strictly speaking, the Blood God Palace and the Supreme 9 Purities Temple had a grudge. If Wu Jun ordered Shen Tian around, Shen Tian would definitely be dissatisfied. He could not attack just because you ordered him around. Could he? If that was the case, he would lose face. You're courting death. Wu Jun was frustrated that he had nowhere to vent his anger. Now that Shen Tian had disobeyed him, it gave him a chance to vent. Cursing under his breath, Wu Jun stomped on the ground and dashed out. I like to see how powerful a 5th-grade human supreme realm martial artist from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple is. Shintian's eyes turned cold as he shouted in a low voice. In fact, in Shintian's heart, he did not think too highly of Wu Jun. Just now, Wang Lin had fought with Wu Jun once. At that time, Wu Jun was at a disadvantage. On the other hand, Wang Lin was killed by Ningyu. In comparison, Wu Jun's strength was definitely not that strong. Rumble. As it turned out, Shintian had obviously underestimated Wu Jun. In the first move, Shintian's defense was broken by Wu Jun, and his body was pushed back several feet. Damn it! After one move, Shintian cursed under his breath and attacked again. Although Shintian already knew how strong Wu Jun was, he had no choice but to release the arrow on the bow. But it was this stupid decision of Shintian that caused him to pay a heavy price. Wu Jun tore through the void and appeared in front of him in an instant. His fist carried a terrifying Yuan Qi gale and slammed into his chest. Uffed. A blood-curdling scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered resounded in the area. Shintian spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned extremely pale. I won't kill you this time, but if there's a next time, I will make sure your soul is destroyed, Wu Jun said coldly. Venerable Wu Jun, in my opinion, why don't? Venerable Ming Yang said as he swiped his palm across his neck. Since he had already formed a feud with Shintian, he had to get rid of him on the spot. If Shintian were to tell on him when he left the magic treasure cave, wouldn't it cause a war between the Blood God Palace and the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? After all, the Blood God Palace would be heartbroken for a long time if they lost a grade 6 supreme martial artist. Shintian, I'll give you a chance. Capture Ningyu and destroy Ningyu's cultivation. Wu Jun ignored Venerable Ming Yang and said, this is the only way you have a chance to live. Otherwise, you won't be able to live. Shintian did not make a move immediately and was secretly thinking about the pros and cons. In general, Wu Jun had given him face. He had only lost 20% of his combat power. If Wu Jun destroyed 50% or even 60% of his combat power and let him fight with Ningyu, he would really be finished. Puffed, puffed. At this moment, the sound of two people spitting out blood could be heard. Swoosh. Chapter 1002. Enduring what? Seeing the two corpses lying on the ground, Wu Jun's expression changed. Luo Song, Shungu. Wu Jun knew very well that the two corpses were the Sacred Heaven Sect's 6th grade supreme martial artists. In terms of pure strength, whether it was Luo Song or Shungu, they were both much stronger than him. Now that Luo Song and the others were killed, didn't that mean that he had no way of fighting against the figure in midair? Wu Jun's expression turned ugly. When he was in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he and Wang Lin were both very strong. Who would have thought that they would encounter the greatest danger when they came to the Beast King Temple? Wang Lin had already been killed. If this continued, he would not be able to escape death. I have to capture Ningyu first. Thinking of this, Wu Jun shouted in a low voice and rushed toward Ningyu. Wu Jun only had one goal, and that was to capture Ningyu. Only by capturing Ningyu would he be able to make Venerable Sword Evil hesitate in taking action. Otherwise, he would definitely die today. Seeing Wu Jun rush out, Venerable Ming Yang and Shuntian looked at each other and saw the panic in each other's eyes. Wu Jun knew how strong the Sword of Evil was, and they knew it too. Swoosh! Swoosh! Without hesitation, Venerable Ming Yang and Heavenly Venerable Shintian stepped on the ground and dashed out. Retreat! How could Ningyu foolishly stay where he was and let Wu Jun and the others kill him? Since the Sword of Evil had displayed such powerful combat power, Ningyu would definitely escape to his side. Ningyu, I don't have much combat power left. I need to recuperate urgently. I'll leave Wu Jun and the others to you for the time being. Ningyu had only taken a few steps when the Sword of Evil's words rang in his ears. Hearing this, Ningyu almost cursed it out loud. You want me to hold him off for a while? What a joke. Wu Jun was a 5th-grade human sovereign, while Shun Tian and Venerable Mingyang were both 6th-grade human sovereigns. If the three of them joined forces, they could even confront and kill a pinnacle 6th-grade sovereign. Earthshaker, Shun Tian isn't at his peak right now. I'll give you 3 minutes to kill him. Ningyu rolled his eyes and said coldly. As for Wu Jun and Venerable Mingyang, I'll deal with them. Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Ningyu charged out with the red demon sword in his hand. Solitaire. Ningyu knew that he was no match for Wu Jun and Venerable Mingyang. As he advanced, he waved the red demon sword repeatedly and slashed out several sword waves. Without a doubt, the sword waves that Ningyu slashed out were quickly dispersed by Wu Jun. As the peerless genius of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Wu Jun was extremely powerful. Even a pinnacle 6th-grade human sovereign wouldn't dare to go head-on against his full strength, let alone Ningyu. After Wu Jun dispersed the sword waves, he tore through the void and arrived in front of Ningyu. Bang! His fist brought with it a violent Yuan Qi gale and slammed into Ningyu's chest. The enormous force that came from his chest caused Ningyu's body to fly back several meters. Ningyu swallowed the blood in his throat and tried his best to look normal. I was wondering how powerful you were. So you were just putting on an act. Wu Jun didn't stop and rushed out again. If it was just Wu Jun alone, Ningyu might be able to hold on for a few minutes if he used his full strength. However, Venerable Mingyang also attacked from the side and used a killing move right from the start, not giving Ningyu any chance to buy time. Sapling, wake up! At the critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly communicated with the sapling and wanted it to help him. Ningyu had faith in the sapling's fighting strength. After the Earth-level palace devoured the energy in the crater, the sapling fell into a deep sleep. Before devouring the energy, the sapling's fighting strength was already comparable to a 5th-grade human supreme martial artist. One could imagine how strong the sapling's fighting strength would be after devouring so much energy. Damn it! Unfortunately, no matter how much Ningyu shouted and promised benefits, the sapling just ignored him. Ningyu cursed inwardly. His left hand formed a seal and blasted out the 3 lives palm, while his right hand swung out the solitaire. Chi-chi! The 3 lives palm and the solitaire flew towards Venerable Mingyang from 2 different directions. In general, Venerable Mingyang was different from Wu Jun. He was still a little afraid of Ningyu. Reverend Mingyang immediately dodged to the side when he saw the palm print and sword ripple rushing toward him, barely dodging the 2 fatal attacks. Trash! Wu Jun had long seen through Ningyu's real strength. Now that Venerable Mingyang was so afraid, he was really angry. Cursing loudly, Wu Jun instantly tore through the void and arrived in front of Ningyu. Raising his right leg, Wu Jun kicked Ningyu's chest fiercely. Bang! Puffed. A crisp sound and the sound of blood spurting could be heard. Ningyu's face was very pale. Originally, Ningyu was hit in the chest by Wu Jun. Now that he was kicked by Wu Jun, he was seriously injured. Venerable Mingyang, help me look after that old man. I want to subdue Ningyu. Wu Jun turned around and instructed Venerable Mingyang before he walked towards Ningyu. Although he knew Ningyu's real combat power, Wu Jun still did not dare to let his guard down. After all, he could still remember the tragic scene of Wang Lin's death. Wu Jun was worried about many things. Ningyu's tricks and the Sword of Evil's attack. If he was not so worried, Wu Jun would have already flown to Ningyu and subdued Ningyu. My combat power is only 1/10 of my peak. I have to think of a way. Looking at Wu Jun, who was approaching him, Ningyu's face was gloomy, and he was thinking of a way to deal with the situation. If he was caught by Wu Jun, the consequences would be unimaginable. The only thing he could do now was to recover to his peak when Wu Jun was next to him. Then, he would take Wu Jun by surprise and severely injure him. Right now, this was probably the only way to survive. How can I recover to my peak in a short time? Ningyu's eyes darted around. He even wanted to take out the royal grade origin crystal and devour it. Oh, right. Suddenly, Ningyu was elated. The Shaoyun pill. After killing Jioding the Venerable, Ningyu found many royal-grade origin crystals, treasures, and elixirs on him. One of the elixirs was the Shaoyan pill that Jioding the Venerable had obtained in the core hall not long ago. The Shaoyan pill was a healing elixir. The injuries on Ningyu's body could be healed almost instantly with the Shaoyan pill. Gotcha! In front of Wu Jun, Ningyu could not swallow the Shaoyan pill directly. He used a little force on his healed palm and crushed it, absorbing the elixir into his body. Puffed. Although the Shaoyan pill was a healing elixir, it was incomparably domineering. If an ordinary martial artist's cultivation was lower than the honorable realm, they would not be able to withstand its elixir. Luckily, Ningyu's physical fitness was better, and he had been clenching his teeth and holding on. Otherwise, the impact of the Shaoyan pill would have been enough to expose him. Ningyu, you've calculated everything, but you didn't expect that you would still fall into my hands. Chapter 1003. Annihilation. Ningyu did not react to Wu Jun's vicious words. His eyes were hollow. I'll let you know that no matter how strong a half-step sovereign realm cultivator is, there's no way he can fight against a fifth-grade human sovereign. The corner of Wu Jun's mouth rose. He raised his right hand and punched towards Ningyu's chest. In fact, Wu Jun did not want to kill Ningyu. He only wanted to cripple Ningyu's cultivation. After all, Ningyu was the person the Supreme Elder was looking for. If he killed Ningyu here, he would not be able to explain himself when he returned. Therefore, Wu Jun did not use his full strength in this punch. He only used 80% of his strength in order to heavily injure Ningyu. Bang! The result was not out of Wu Jun's expectations. Ningyu was punched in the chest, and his body was sent flying several feet away. Puff! Blood spurted out from Ningyu's mouth. Ningyu's face turned deathly pale. Ha ha! Ningyu, you should be glad that I'm not going to kill you today. Otherwise, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Wu Jun roared with laughter after succeeding with a single strike, and he said, Don't worry, I'll only cripple your cultivation and then bring you to the Sovereign 9 Clarity Palace to reunite you with that bitch. 2 consecutive attacks had heavily injured Ningyu, causing Wu Jun to feel a little smug. However, Wu Jun was well aware of the current situation. Only after he subdued Ning, could the Sword of Evil refrain from attacking. If the Sword of Evil went berserk and attacked him, wouldn't he be finished? Swish! Stamping his feet on the ground, Wu Jun dashed out in a flash. Although Wu Jun was only a pinnacle 5th-grade sovereign, his fighting strength was even stronger than Venerable Ming Yang, who was a 6th-grade sovereign. He was strong and reliable. In this state, it was almost impossible for Wu Jun to lose to Ningyu. Wouldn't it have been fine if you had made your move earlier? There was no need to drag it out for so long. What? Venerable Ming Yang paid attention to the Sword of Evil and Wu Jun at the same time. From Venerable Ming Yang's point of view, if Wu Jun had acted earlier, none of this would have happened. There was no better way to describe the Venerable Ming Yang as a jinx. Before he could finish murmuring, his expression changed drastically. A dramatic scene unfolded in the distance. Bang! Puff! 2 crisp sounds rang out consecutively. The first was the sound of Wu Jun's fist landing on Ningyu's chest. As for the second sound, it was the sound of a flying sword piercing into flesh. Wu Jun lowered his head to look at the blood-red flying sword stuck in his heart. He pointed at Ningyu and said, You're not injured. Is this all an illusion? Whoosh! Ningyu withdrew the red demon sword and took a few steps back. He said calmly, Your first punch did indeed severely injure me, but Ningyu paused for a moment before continuing. With the help of the Shaoyan pill, I was able to recover to my peak state in a very short period of time. Therefore, it's not a loss for you to be killed by me. The Shaoyan pill. Wu Jun naturally knew how terrifying the Shaoyan pill was. Anyone below the 9th grade human supreme level could recover completely after taking the Shaoyan pill, no matter how severe their injuries were. Wu Jun did not understand one thing. Ningyu was only a half-step supreme level warrior. How could he not suffer a backlash after taking the Shaoyan pill? Generally speaking, Such a domineering pill had very strict requirements for the user's physique. If Ning Yu could recover to his peak state with the Xiaoyan pill in a short period of time, didn't that mean that Ning Yu's physique was far superior to his cultivation? Puff. After thinking it through, Wu Jun spat out a mouthful of blood and his body fell backward. Thump. His body fell to the ground and stirred up a cloud of dust. Venerable Mingyang stared blankly at Wu Jun's corpse. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but his face was filled with terror. Terrifying? It was truly terrifying. With his half-step supreme level warrior cultivation, Ningyu first set up a trap to kill Wang Lin, then used the Xiaoyan pill to recover to his peak state in a short period of time and killed Wu Jun. One after another, it only took a few minutes. Gulp. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, Venerable Mingyang felt a lingering fear. If Ningyu had done this when he was in the core hall, he probably would not have been able to live until now. Venerable Mingyang, I'll give you one last chance to live. Seeing the flickering in Venerable Mingyang's eyes, Ningyu said in a deep voice, kill Shintian. This is your only chance to live. Whether you can grasp it or not is entirely up to you. Sage Mingyang, you can't listen to Ningyu's rumors. He's trying to drive a wedge between us. Shintian acted as if he was facing a formidable enemy and said hurriedly, the most important thing now is for the two of us to join forces and use all our trump cards to kill Ningyu. Venerable Mingyang's face was gloomy, and he was having an intense battle in his mind. The current situation was clear. He could either join forces with Shintian to kill Ningyu, or he could rely on Ningyu to kill Shintian. Shintian is from the Blood God Palace. The relationship between the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and the Blood God Palace shouldn't be too good. If you kill Shintian, you might even be able to get some benefits when you return to the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Seeing that Venerable Mingyang was hesitating, Ningyu used the Great Deception technique. Moreover, even if you don't want to kill Shintian, Shintian might want to kill you. Ningyu, don't try to scare me. Shintian and I are on the same side. How could? Venerable Mingyang gritted his teeth. Venerable Mingyang didn't want to kill Shintian, but it didn't mean that Shintian didn't want to kill Venerable Mingyang. Don't blame me. If I don't make a move now, I'll definitely be killed by the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Instead of that, it's better for me to kill you first. Shintian slowly retracted the flying sword in his hand and said fiercely, if you want to blame someone, blame yourself for wanting to kill me from the start. You're courting death. Just as Shintian retracted the flying sword, a loud shout came from midair in the distance. As soon as the shout was heard, a figure tore through the void and appeared in front of Shintian in the blink of an eye. Crack! Venerable Yang of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple broke Shintian's neck in front of Shintian's fearful eyes. Bang! At the same time, Venerable Yang slammed his palm on Shintian's chest, directly shattering Shintian's heart. At that moment, Shintian of the Blood God Temple was scared out of his wits. Brat, you sure have guts. After successfully killing Shintian, Venerable Yang turned his head to look at the two bodies lying on the ground and said coldly, Wu Jun and Wang Lin were top geniuses that the Supreme Nine Purities Temple spent a lot of resources to nurture, but both of them died in your hands. I think you must be tired of living. Venerable Yang, looking at the gloomy face of the early-stage 8th grade human supreme, Ningyu's heart sank to the bottom. Venerable Yang's strength was definitely miles ahead of him. Chapter 1004. Block Rumble. In the next moment, Venerable Yang unleashed his aura and pressed down on Ningyu. Crack, crack. Being pressured by Venerable Yang's aura, Ningyu felt a wave of soreness coming from his knees. He was about to kneel down. Sword of Evil, are you going to help or not? Ningyu tried his best to resist Venerable Yang's aura as he transmitted his voice to the Sword of Evil. The agreement between him and the Sword of Evil was that he would help the Sword of Evil find a qualified body snatcher, and the Sword of Evil would help him 3 times. The first time, the Sword of Evil helped Ningyu kill the the venerable corpse crane. The second time, the Sword of Evil helped Ning Yu kill Luo Song and Shun Gu. This was the third time. Ning Yu hoped that the Sword of Evil could resist Venerable Yang's aura. If necessary, he would even help Venerable Yang. Stop joking. My strength is no match for Venerable Yang. The Sword of Evil was not a fool. He had a clear understanding of his own strength. In his illusory state, he could only fight against an early-stage 7th-grade Human Supreme. Against an early-stage 8th-grade Human Supreme, he could only regret it. Unless he could find a body to snatch and successfully possess it, he would not be able to defeat Venerable Yang. Damn it, the Sword of Evil refused to help. Ning Yu had no choice but to sink his consciousness into his sea of consciousness and use the law of space. Although Ning Yu did not want to use the law of space here, he did not have the luxury of time to think about it. Venerable Yang, are you saying that only the members of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple are allowed to kill others, but others are not allowed to kill members of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? At this moment, Su Yun flew over from afar and landed in front of Ning Yu. Looking at the figure before him, Ning Yu slowly retracted the laws of space back into his sea of wisdom. The law of space was such a precious thing. Once it was exposed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ning Yu could almost foresee that he only had two enemies, Venerable Yang and Venerable Wind. If he were to expose his space law, perhaps even the Beast King would attack him. After all, the temptation of spatial laws was too great. Ning Yu didn't believe that the Beast King would sit back and do nothing if even a Heavenly Supreme couldn't resist it. Su Yin, do you really think that you're that powerful if I don't kill you? Venerable Yang said coldly. I admit that once the extreme Yin physique explodes, your strength will increase by leaps and bounds. However, you don't dare to explode because you won't be able to live long if you do. You're right. I don't dare to explode. Su Yun's eyes flickered. She turned to the Beast King and said, Beast King, I have a favor to ask of you. Swoosh. Hearing this, the Beast King forced the Venerable Wind back with one move and came to Su Yun. What is it? The Beast King asked, Give me the supreme celestial pill. Su Yun said in a deep voice. Here. After a moment of silence, the Beast King passed the jade bottle containing the supreme celestial pill to Su Yun. The second thing is to block Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang for me. I'll come back to see you in an hour. After saying this, Su Yun grabbed Ning Yu and dashed away at a shocking speed. Rustle. Su Yun's speed was so fast that she disappeared in the blink of an eye. Go after her. Seeing that Su Yun had disappeared, the Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang looked at each other and quickly chased after her. Su Yun had the extreme Yin physique and was someone that Venerable Wind needed. Ning Yu was someone that Venerable Yang was looking for. As for the Supreme Immortal Pill, it was something that both of them wanted to obtain. Under this premise, they naturally had to chase after her. Since he had promised Su Yun, the Beast King must do it. He snorted coldly. As he waved his hands, two terrifying gusts of wind shot out from the void towards Yang Zunzun and Feng Zunzun respectively. Whoosh! When the gusts of wind dissipated, Su Yun and Ning Yu were long gone. Beast King, do you really think that you can stop the both of us? The Venerable Wind's face was gloomy, and he said coldly, Why are you talking nonsense with him? Let's attack together and kill him first. Venerable Yang was hot-tempered, and he said angrily, Don't forget that this is the Beast King Palace. It's my trump card, the Beast King. The Beast King said in a deep voice, It might be a little difficult to kill you, but it's not a problem for me to stop you for an hour. Go. The Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang obviously did not want to waste any time. They attacked simultaneously and charged towards the Beast King. Rumble. The battle between the powerhouses caused the space to tremble. So troublesome. The Sword of Evil initially did not want to bring the eight-legged centipede and the Earth Shaker. However, when he remembered that Ning Yu was taken away by Su Yun, he could only grab the eight-legged centipede and the Earth Shaker with both hands and leave the area immediately. When the immortals were fighting, it was better for the mortals to stay away. Whoosh! Whoosh! While the Beast King and the rest were fighting, two figures suddenly descended from the end of the treasure cave. Su Yun and Ningyu. The two figures were none other than Su Yun and Ningyu. Stopping, Su Yun said, "Let that woman out. It's definitely safe here." Ningyu knew who the woman Su Yun was referring to was. Lu Wei had an extreme body, and so did Su Yun. Moreover, Su Yun had brought the supreme immortal pill with her before she left. Ningyu could vaguely guess what Su Yun was going to do. Whoosh! Without thinking too much, Ningyu let Lu Wei leave the storage ring. "Go to the other side and wait. Don't come over without my permission. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson." Su Yun pointed into the distance, and at the same time, she separated a bit of her aura to suppress Ningyu. What do you want to do to Ningyu? Although Lu Wei felt a little close to Su Yun, she was closer to Ningyu. Su Yun was not friendly to Ningyu, so she definitely wanted to help Ningyu. "So you're Ningyu. Since you brought Lu Wei to the Beast King Palace, you should know that Lu Wei has an extreme body." Su Yun withdrew her aura and took out a jade pendant. The Mystic Moon Jade Pendant. Although Ningyu had already guessed that one of the Mystic Moon Jade Pendants was with Su Yun, he was still a little shocked when he saw Su Yun take it out. Two Mystic Moon Jade Pendants and a middle grade supreme immortal pill. Now, I'm going to help Lu Wei break the shackles of her extreme body. At this moment, Su Yun's tone became calm. "Senior Su, to break the extreme body, a middle grade supreme immortal pill and two Mystic Moon Jade Pendants are far from enough, right?" Ningyu frowned slightly and transmitted his voice to Su Yun. "If I'm not wrong, apart from those two things, I also need a huge amount of energy. A terrifying amount of energy. Regarding this, I've prepared it long ago." Su Yun couldn't help but look up to Ningyu. She said, "I've prepared tens of thousands of royal-grade origin crystals and many elixirs to strengthen essence chi. Not enough. Far from enough." Shaking his head slowly, Ningyu gave all the origin crystals and elixirs he had to Su Yun. "Don't worry, since I intend to help Lu Wei break the extreme body, I prepared everything." Chapter 1005. Joking. "Can you tell me what your relationship with Lu Wei is?" Ningyu stood still and said hesitantly. The reason why Ningyu did not leave immediately was not because Ningyu had no confidence in Su Yun, but because he was more concerned about the relationship between Su Yun and Lu Wei. It was unrealistic for Su Yun to choose to help Lu Wei just because both of them had the extreme body. Ningyu would not believe it either. Since Su Yun was willing to help Lu Wei, it meant that their relationship was not ordinary. "I'll tell you about these things later on with Lu Wei. Now, hurry up and leave." Su Yun clearly didn't want to say more. She said coldly, "Remember, you can't come here without my permission. Otherwise, it's very likely that everything will go to waste." "Understood." Ningyu glanced at Lu Wei before flying off into the distance. Although Ningyu had left, he could still clearly see the movements of Su Yun and Lu Wei from where he was. In other words, all of Su Yun's actions were within Ningyu's grasp. Two Mystic Moon Jade Pendants and a Supreme Celestial Pill are far from enough to break the extreme body. After finding a good spot, Ningyu focused his attention on Lu Wei and Su Yun. The extreme body had been bothering Lu Wei for 18 years. If Su Yun could find a way to break the extreme body, Lu Wei's cultivation would probably soar. Let's see what Su Yun plans to do first. Ningyu gradually quieted down. While recuperating, he paid close attention to Su Yun. Su Yun's hands were waving in front of Lu Wei. As Su Yun's hands moved, Lu Wei's eyes gradually closed. In the end, she fell into a deep sleep. "Who?" Seeing that Lu Wei had fallen asleep, Su Yun slowly let out a breath of turbid air. The first step had been completed. Gotcha. After that, Su Yun took out the Supreme Immortal Pill, exerted a little force in his palm, and crushed it into pieces. "Ha!" Slapping Lu Wei, Su Yun threw the powdered Supreme Immortal Pill into Lu Wei's mouth. Mystic Moon Jade Pendant close. In the next moment, Su Yun took off her Mystic Moon Jade Pendant and combined it with Lu Wei's Mystic Moon Jade Pendant. Whoosh! As soon as the two Mystic Moon Jade Pendants came together, A terrifying essence chi light pillar soared into the sky. The light pillar was so terrifying that even Ningyu sucked in a breath of cold air. I didn't expect the two mystic moon jade pendants to be able to burst out such a terrifying essence chi light pillar. Ningyu's eyes were filled with astonishment. Although he knew that the mystic moon jade pendant was precious, he didn't expect it to burst out such a terrifying essence chi light pillar after they were combined. Even an 8th grade human supreme being would have a hard time against this essence chi light pillar. Ningyu was a little puzzled. If he had known earlier, why didn't Su Yun combine the two mystic moon jade pendants together just now? If that was the case, wouldn't even Venerable Feng and Venerable Yang be unable to withstand it? Withdraw. However, Su Yun's next action made Ningyu come to a sudden realization. Su Yun took out a white pouch and used a secret technique to absorb all the essence chi light pillar in the air into the pouch. After the essence chi light pillar was completely absorbed, Su Yun threw the pouch aside and sat cross-legged behind Lu Wei. She placed her hands on Lu Wei's back. Chi. Wisps of essence chi flowed into Lu Wei's body through Su Yun's palms. What? Seeing Su Yun's action, Ningyu's expression changed drastically. Breaking the extreme Ean body required the sovereign immortal pill, 2 mystic moon jade pendants, and a huge amount of energy. Now, that Su Yun had obtained the first 2 items. As for the huge amount of energy, could it be that Su Yun wanted to sacrifice herself? Thinking of this, Ningyu's expression became extremely solemn. Ningyu guessed that Su Yun and Lu Wei were close relatives. Otherwise, it would be impossible for her to sacrifice herself to break the extreme Ean body for Lu Wei. One must know that Su Yun also had the extreme Ean body. After obtaining these 2 items, there was a high chance that she could break the extreme Ean body in her body. He believed that with the relationship between Su Yun and the Beast King, it was impossible for the Beast King to reject her request to borrow some energy from the Beast King. Time was ticking away. 5 minutes later, Lu Wei spat out a mouthful of blood, and her face became a little pale. From now on, Lu Wei would spit out a mouthful of blood every 5 minutes. After spitting out the 10th mouthful of blood, Su Yun put the combined mystic moon jade around Lu Wei's neck. Moreover, Su Yun also controlled the white bag to come in front of her and swallowed the essence chi light pillar inside into her stomach. After doing all this, Su Yun began the most crucial step. She injected the essence chi into Lu Wei's body and combined it with the supreme fairy elixir to break the shackles of the extreme Ean body in Lu Wei's body. This step was very dangerous, and the slightest carelessness could lead to the destruction of one's soul. Naturally, Su Yun had to be careful. What's going on? At the beginning, things developed in the direction that Ningyu had guessed. But very soon, Ningyu found something wrong, because Lu Wei's aura gradually began to rise. From the beginning of the true martial realm, it gradually rose to the peak of the true martial realm, the Yuan Dan realm, the peak of the Yuan Dan realm. As time passed, Lu Wei's cultivation rose faster and faster. Half an hour later, Lu Wei had advanced from the true martial realm to the creation realm. It's Su Yun. Ningyu's eyes were very sharp, and he almost instantly found the source of the problem. Su Yun. All of this was done by Su Yun. Not only did Su Yun help Lu Wei break the shackles of the extreme Ean body, but she also transferred the energy in her body to Lu Wei. This method was completely suicidal. Even if Lu Wei could get rid of the trouble of the extreme Ean body, Su Yun would still die. Bang! When Lu Wei advanced to the peak of the creation realm, Su Yun was suddenly thrown several feet away by the huge force that shot out from Lu Wei's body. Just a little more. Although she was sent flying, Su Yun revealed a smile. Ningyu, come over here. Su Yun shouted at Ningyu in the distance. Swoosh! Ningyu did not dare to delay and quickly flew to Su Yun's side. Su Yun's words shocked Ningyu the moment she opened her mouth. Later, I will make my extreme Ean body erupt. At that time, I will have 3 minutes of consciousness. You have to transfer all the energy in my body to Lu Wei's body. Su Yun said in a low voice. Not only will I break the shackles of the extreme body in Lu Wei's body, but I will also give her a great opportunity to directly advance to the supreme realm. What? Are you sure you are not joking? Ningyu was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Once the extreme body erupted, the consequences would be unimaginable. Right now, Su Yun was a peak 7th grade human supreme. After the extreme body erupted, her cultivation would even reach the 9th grade human supreme. Although she had advanced to the peak of the creation realm, there was still a huge gap between Lu Wei and the 9th grade human supreme. Let Lu Wei completely bear the energy in Su Yun's body? There was only one word to describe it. Chapter 1006. Snatching. Are you thinking that with Lu Wei's current cultivation base, she won't be able to withstand the energy in my body? Su Yun seemed to be able to read Ningyu's mind. She said, I've left a small whirlpool in Lu Wei's divine sense sea. When the time comes, you just have to absorb the energy into the whirlpool. You don't have to worry about anything else. Air. All right. Ningyu was slightly stunned, but he nodded. From today onwards, I'll leave Lu Wei in your hands. With a low grunt, Su Yun performed a series of hand seals. As Su Yun performed the hand seals, a terrifying aura rose from her body into the sky. Shit, it's the eruption of the extreme physique. As soon as Su Yun revealed her aura, Beast King's expression changed drastically. With Su Yun's cultivation base, once the extreme physique erupted, the consequences would be unimaginable. Damn it! Sensing the surging aura in the distance, not only did the Beast King's expression change drastically, even the Wen Zun Zun and Yang Zun Zun were shocked. They were all early-stage 8th grade supreme martial artists. Facing the eruption of Su Yun, only death awaited them. I got it. Suddenly, Venerable Yang raised his eyebrows and said hurriedly, Su Yun has the extreme physique, and the woman in Ningyu's storage ring also has the extreme physique. When Su Yun left, she took the supreme celestial elixir with her. If I'm not mistaken, she must be trying to help the woman in the storage ring. That woman's cultivation base is low. As long as we stop Beast King and prevent Beast King from stopping Su Yun's eruption, we'll be safe when Su Yun is completely finished. Venerable Win's face was gloomy. The reason why he came to the Great Xia Kingdom and the Beast King's palace was to bring the extreme physique back to the Sacred Heaven sect. Given the current situation, it was still unknown if they could return alive, let alone bring the extreme body back to the Sacred Heaven sect. All right, stop the Beast King. Venerable Wind clenched his teeth and dashed towards the Beast King. There was still a chance of survival if the Beast King was stopped. Otherwise, if the Beast King stopped Su Yun's outburst, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wait for me. Seeing Venerable Wind rush out, Venerable Yang dared not delay and immediately rushed out. Get lost. The Beast King was furious that he was blocked by Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang. In fact, in order to reach Su Yun earlier, the Beast King did not hesitate to burn his blood essence to fight. The Beast King's frenzied attacks had some effect. Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang were forced to retreat from his attacks, not daring to face him head-on. Are Venerable Wind and the rest going to be killed? In the distant void, 3 figures were hidden. These 3 figures were the 8-legged centipede, the Earth Shaker, and the illusory Sword of Evil. The Sword of Evil was smart. He did not leave with Ningyu and Su Yun, but stayed behind. The Beast King, Venerable Wind, and Venerable Yang. These 3 were all early-stage 8th grade supreme martial artists. The Sword of Evil had some devious thoughts. As long as someone showed an obvious sign of weakness, he would definitely go and take over. There was only one chance. It would be gone if he missed it. The Beast King is overdrafting his life essence. In half an hour at most, the Beast King will be defeated. Hearing the Earthshaker's words, the Sword of Evil shook his head and said, That's impossible. The Beast King obviously has the upper hand. Moreover, this is the Beast King Palace. The Beast King has a natural advantage. The Earthshaker frowned and said, "You're right. This is the Beast King Palace. But you forgot one thing. If this wasn't the Beast King Palace, the Beast King would have been killed a long time ago." The Sword of Evil pouted and said, "What should we do now?" The eight-legged centipede hesitated and said, "Su Yun's extreme body has erupted. I wonder if it will affect us. What's there to be afraid of? Ningyu is the closest to Su Yun. If he's fine, we'll definitely be fine." The Sword of Evil said impatiently, "You guys stay here. Don't go anywhere. I'll go to the side and take a look." Buzz, buzz. With that, the Sword of Evil's figure flashed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Looking at the Sword of Evil's disappearing figure, the eight-legged centipede said to the Earthshaker, "The Sword of Evil is definitely up to no good. Should we inform Ningyu?" "Not for now. Ningyu sees things more clearly than we do. What we need to do now is to stay here." The Earthshaker thought for a moment and said, "In the entire magic treasure cave, the two of us are the weakest. The others can kill us with just a flick of their fingers. What's the difference between going out at this time and courting death?" "That's true." The eight-legged centipede nodded and then fell silent. At the same time, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat when he sensed the aura emanating from Su Yun, a ninth-grade human supreme. After the extreme body erupted, Su Yun's cultivation had indeed skyrocketed to ninth-grade human supreme. Swoosh! Swoosh! Just as Ningyu was slightly stunned, two Yuan Qi light pillars shot out from Su Yun's body and rushed toward Lu Wei. One Yuan Qi light pillar stuck to Lu Wei's back, and the other on Lu Wei's forehead. Qi. An endless stream of Yuan Qi entered Lu Wei's body from the Yuan Qi light pillar. "Why are you still cold? Hurry up and control your Yuan Qi to enter the whirlpool in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness." Seeing that Ningyu was still in a daze, Su Yun shouted. The explosive shout that came into his ears caused Ningyu to instantly react. Ningyu hurriedly sent a portion of his soul power into Lu Wei's body and controlled the Yuan Qi to enter Lu Wei's sea of consciousness. At first, Ningyu was very worried. But soon, Ningyu realized that his worries were justified. The whirlpool in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness was like a bottomless pit. No matter how much Yuan Qi Su Yun poured into it, it could not be filled. So much Yuan Qi. If Lu Wei refined at all, she could probably advance to 4th grade or even 5th grade human supreme. Ningyu's mouth was slightly agape. He was extremely shocked. Comparisons were odious indeed. He had gone through so much to advance to the half-step sovereign realm, but Lu Wei had advanced to the pinnacle of the manifestation realm in such a short time. There was even a huge amount of Yuan Qi in her sea of consciousness. As long as she refined the Yuan Qi in the future, she would be able to advance to the sovereign realm. "No, I can only hold on for 3 more minutes. Within these 3 minutes, I have to transfer all the Yuan Qi in my body out." Suddenly, Su Yun shouted, "Ningyu, relax your mind. I want to transfer the Yuan Qi into your body." Ningyu was a little dumbfounded. "Transfer the Yuan Qi into my body? I don't have a whirlpool in my sea of consciousness. How can I withstand so much? I... Before Ningyu could finish his words, he couldn't help swearing. Swoosh! Su Yun did not care about what Ningyu said. Instead, she forcefully sent a portion of Yuan Qi into Ningyu's body. Spiritual transformation technique. Although Ningyu did not want so much Yuan Qi for the time being, since Su Yun had already injected it into his body, Ningyu would definitely not let it go. "The two of you are pissing me off." However, just as Ningyu was about to refine the Yuan Qi in his body, he realized that the sapling and the law of space had all sprung out. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.